Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery. Special episode this week, episode 197. As Apis Lapis says correctly in the chat, it's a prime number, apparently. But it's not only as a prime number, but it's also our 4th birthday. Yep, we have been boring you to death for 4 years. Isn't that amazing? And speaking of boring you to death, I'm going to bring the people that try not to bore you to death better than I do. Hey everyone! Happy 4th birthday, guys!
Happy birthday!
Yes. We've made it to 4 years of dizzy heights.
Well, we're only at tonight, 4-year-olds.
Yeah, we're just toddlers. We're just toddlers.
Cake with a dinosaur candle.
Cake with a dinosaur candle. Yay!
We should light that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll set fire to the studio now. You know that.
Oh, I just managed to get the chatties to pop
be careful.
That's cool.
Don't say that, Ian, because my fire alarm went off at 3 o'clock this morning.
Hey,
what?
Hey,
I'll just blow it out. There you go. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect timing.
Was it?
yeah.
Is it battery hand or just
Now,
random off?
I've no idea. Just a random off, I think, because it was, and then because it makes such a noise. Probably woke up all the other flats around me, but never mind.
Check me out now.
Interestingly, I should tell you guys, there's one tiny little addition that we've done, and you guys won't even know about it because it's happening in the ether internet. I managed to finally get my fiber connection connected in the last couple of weeks to my house here, and it's got a nice big fat internet connection now, and the stream is coming out via the fiber link. So if there's any dramas with the stream, God knows what it is. It won't be my end, that's for sure, because there's something like 1 gigabit coming in here. It's crazy the amount of speed that's coming in here. Wow. And it was just pure luck, Brooksy. We got this this guy that lived down the street that was doing something with the local internet, and I was chatting to the technician who was digging up some telecommunications pit, and I said, "Do we have fibre on the street?" And he goes, "Oh yes, look right here, there's fibre." And I went, every time I ring up the internet service provider, they always tell me that we don't have fibre. So a few phone calls later, and a few weeks later, bang, I've got fibre. Hello. It was pure luck, I think. It was pure luck.
Sell it to you if you haven't got it until.
Let's quickly grab this one before we lose it. John Simpson, big thank you for the £5. Happy birthday, Synth Geekery. Indeed, mate. Good on you, mate. One of our channel members too. What a top lad he is. What a top lad. That'll go towards the beer/cake fund. Maybe we'll have a beer cake. I don't know. Yeah. Kent Spong.
Oh, Kent.
Whoa, jeez, Kent. Wow, brilliant one. Tim Tams, anyone, says Kent. Yeah.
No,
Kent has definitely got the Tim Tams. Thank you very much, mate. That is too generous. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Kent. Also one of our channel members as well. Nice. Thanks, guys. Amazing. Now, we have got a pretty big show coming up, and I should maybe do a little bit of a teaser. There's, of course, what's a news week without some Behringer news? Yes, of course, we've got some Behringer news. I'm not going to tell you what it is, though, because maybe you may not have heard about it yet. There's one bit of news, though, that's going to have us chomping at the bit. There's a bit of a joke there. There is going to be some very firm software updates that we're going to have a chat about. And one of the synths got to double the voice count. That might be interesting. And also, if you still have your old 70s Roland System 100M, you may be wanting to stick around and watch our news section. Now, speaking of sections, we also have Price Watch, which we didn't have last week. And I can tell you in Price Watch, there is some really, really good, interesting things to take a bite out of that. We're going to celebrate this show with all of our regular segments. We're going to have Funny Side, of course, as well. And, of course, we're going to talk about the history. It's not a huge history, it's 4 years, but maybe some of the nerdy things and the geeky things that we've got up to in the show in the last 4 years. And the embarrassing things, maybe. I don't know. Whilst we're doing that...
Nothing's ever embarrassing.
Why don't we say hello to everyone who's here? And I'll start with, I can't tell if Andy's actually, he's alive, he's moving. I might go to
He's
Andy
alive.
first.
He's alive.
Hey.
There's a relief, Andy. I bet you're pleased to hear
I'm
that.
half awake.
Hello, Andy.
Half awake. How you doing?
How are you, mate?
Slept about an hour and a half, so there we go.
Oh, good man, good
Wow.
man.
Too much work. I got work to do this weekend, so that's the way it goes.
Yes, I'll be doing that next weekend. I should tell people about that in a sec. Yes, everything good? Anything new? Anything interesting from your world?
Nothing fun really lately. Just the usual stuff. I mean, I had some fun stuff last week. Got some goodies I talked about. There is a I'd have to double check, but I'm supposed to play the EMOM this coming Thursday in San Francisco, so we'll see if that goes through or not. That should be fun. But other than that, yeah, just busy.
Fantastic.
So, happy to be here, even if I'm half awake. So
we'll wake you up. We'll wake you up. Well, speaking of waking
Thanks.
people up, there's some beautiful donations coming through. There's some chuffs. We're good without his chuffs. Thank you very much for the 10 of them. Also, Mark M was £10 for some beer. Absolutely, that'll go down well. And Future World
Already on
Machines.
it.
Big thanks, matey, for the £10. Best wishes, Ranz, and everyone involved in Synth Geekery.
Excellent.
Thanks
Thank
very
you,
much.
folks.
Thanks very much. Also from you, Andy. What are you doing?
yeah.
Thanks very much, mate.
I'm in the giving spirit. So
Good on you, mate. Good on you. Okay, we're going to go across to Darren. Darren. How are you, mate?
Happy birthday.
Happy
It's been
fourth
a long
birthday
4
to you too,
years.
mate. You've been around just about as long,
It's been quick.
hasn't it?
Yeah,
Hasn't it?
I wasn't on the first show, but I was on the first year anyway. So yeah, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's slow changes. I think when I first started on the show, I didn't have a band camp, and I was only releasing small tracks, I think, or not a track every week. Although I've gone down to one every 2 weeks. Main reason is because I'm writing other stuff for Bandcamp and things. But yeah, it's been good 4 years. Let's hope it continues. Oh, studio change. I think 2 studio changes. I think in that time.
Yeah. Weren't they interesting?
And I'm not sure, but I put the Orb t-shirt on because I'm not sure whether it was one of the first t-shirts that I wore. I can't remember now. I should have gone back further. But yes, good 4 years. I've not been up to much. Just writing, finishing off the album. Other than that, it's been okay week.
Great. Well, as long as it's been okay. And you got a bit of sunshine out your window too, which is always good, right?
No, it's not actually sunshine, believe it or not. It's as cloudy as anything out there. It's
Not
just bright.
again.
It's gone and it's raining.
I'm just going to give up saying it's sunshine, and then one day you're going to say it is actually sunshine.
You'll not. I'll tell you what.
won't be able
You'll
to
know
see
when
it.
it's sunshine. Well, you'll know when it's sunshine because when it's sunshine, it'll be like this.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll be wearing your dark sunnies.
Yeah. This is just white outside. It's not snowing. It's just raining, but it's very white, so it's reflecting in air. I used to put sort of a film to filter it out, but I've just not had a chance to put it up. See, Andy has a nice camera look because he's got the sunshine, but he still can see him. Whereas me, I just look like somebody in a dark room. Maybe that's where I need to be.
Well, speaking of Brooksy, we might say hello to you, matey. And we've got your name
Hello,
tag
everyone.
right this week. Hey.
Well done. And yeah, happy 4th birthday. Sorry I forgot the cake and the party hat. I really wasn't thinking about it this morning. I should have been, but never mind. Yeah, I mean, it's not 4 years for me. It's coming up to 3, I think. But yeah, how time flies. I was actually thinking about it. I think of all the things that have happened. You know, Darren's just mentioned the things that he's done in that time, and I've sort of gone through a whole series of changes as to what I have, and the way I use it. And actually, it's certainly in the last sort of 12 months, the rate of change and the rate of development and the amount of activity, if you like, has gone one of those exponential curves again, aren't we? And and things like obviously getting back in touch with Grace Griffin and doing the stuff for hardware jams, and going out and doing EMOMs, and obviously a couple of weeks ago being involved with the Synth East and the patch off and all of that sort of thing. Like Darren said, releasing tracks on Bandcamp, both a few of my own and with Grace, obviously, and that's great. You know, you think, wow, how far this has come. And I will say it now, and I'll say it quite publicly. It all starts because of you saying, yeah, well, come on next week, when you said, oh, we've got a slot next week if anybody wants to jump in, and me jumping in and being on fairly regularly ever since, you know, and all these little things have added up. But it starts there. I think that little sort of catalyst of jumping in onto Synth Geekery, it's been that was a big jump, and it's facilitated a lot of good things. So I'm very grateful.
And it moved you straight into modular without you even realising.
Yeah.
I do not want modular. Never. Or maybe
not straight. I don't think I ever said that, did I?
Nah, you didn't.
No. Well, you said you weren't sure about modular. You said
I remember
get down.
I wasn't sure, because I remember that one of the first synth fests in Sheffield, and walking around all this massive modular gear, which I didn't really understand. That every single stand seemed to just go.
There you go.
And I just thought, what the fuck is this all about? Oh, sorry. And
You're right, mate. You're fine.
And then
it's a birthday.
So I wasn't entirely convinced at all, and it took a while. It really did take a while. I'll tell you, there were two main things really that pushed me into it, that said, yes, you can do this. The first one was Robin Vincent doing his series on getting into modular, because he made it all seem possible and doable. And you, Ranzee, actually going through all the bits and bobs. And then to a lesser extent, Alex, Minor Melodies, all those people really making it seem modular is possible, and it doesn't have to be space farts.
Well, it's expensive space farts, though.
You can write a track called
Ben Jordan
Exponential
said
Curve.
that.
Let's quickly catch these.
I've got to, haven't I? Yeah, good one.
Let's not stop what we're saying, but let's quickly catch these. Thank you very much, Carl, for the €10. Happy birthday, Mr. Ranzee. It's not my birthday, but it's the show's birthday. That's fine. Big thank you to you and all the guests. Mate, very nice of you to do that. And also the 10-pounder from Culture of Ghosts. Happy birthday, Ranzee. Well, happy birthday to Synth Geekery. It's awesome. Thank you very much for the kindness everyone's showing. It's
thanks everyone.
It's
That's
touching.
amazing.
It's very touching. I might even be able to afford to buy a eurorack module.
Do I mean space to fart in, says Kent. Nah, the less space there is, the more it rasps. It's better that way.
Boo! Let's not go there.
Sorry.
Now, I haven't.
You can buy a nice Malta, Ranzee. So.
Yeah, I can buy a malt. Yeah. I haven't said hello to Ian yet, so let's not forget Ian. Big hello to you, mate.
Happy birthday, everybody. Thanks. I mean, obviously, I am the new boy. I haven't been here for 4 years. This is my first year still, isn't it?
It is as a video guest, I think, but I think you've been lurking.
I was always in the chat room.
Yeah,
for a long time. I was in the chat room for a long time before I would even talk in the chat room. That's how back it go, really. Yeah. So I'm just. I look forward to this every week. It's brilliant. It's great stuff. Busy week this week. Obviously, on Monday, I released my Audiophile radio show, which is the Mr. Wiggly special. If people haven't seen that or heard that,
so good.
Yes,
it's
so good.
Really emotive.
Go and listen to it. You'll cry your bloody eyes out. You really will.
My voice was cracking by the end of it, certainly.
Yeah.
And then my Izzy turned up on Tuesday.
Yay!
Which is. It's all right. It's good fun. You'll love it, Andy, because that's the instruction manual.
Ooh,
brilliant!
It's actually got one.
Just that side. It's got one. It's got one, but that's the 1 year warranty, and that's the instruction manual.
The lawyers get their page, and we get.
Yeah.
Is that page usable?
Actually, yeah, it is. It's fairly simple to get your head around. I haven't connected it to a computer yet, and you can program it and stuff. I've been messing around with it. I lost an afternoon just messing around with it. It was great. It was really good fun. Interestingly enough, it doesn't work directly as a camera input with Mac. Mac doesn't recognize it at all, so I had to use OBS to actually get stuff onto the computer, which I may end up doing a video on. What else? I've been renovating a pair of very rare speakers. These are environmental sound FF1s, which nobody's ever heard of, and I can't find anything about them. I've had them for decades, really. But they've had new tweeters, new bass units, and Sinner's Music have finally. We're dealing with. We're working with another artist for the first time in quite a while. We will be putting Mo's or Dave Walker's album out probably in about 6 weeks' time. We've been having a conversation about, because if you look at Dave's YouTube channel, not YouTube, his Bandcamp, he puts them all out as singles. And I said, Dave, we need to do this as an album. So I've got all the tracks now. I'm just sequencing them. I'm then going to master them, and we'll try and do some PR, which I'm really crap at, but we'll do our best, and we'll get Dave an album out. Maybe make him some money.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting you off there,
really
Ian.
cool,
You can keep talking.
No, I'm done. That was it. I'm done.
Just want to quickly say just before it scrolls away, because it is scrolling very quickly today. Big thanks to Manny for the happy birthday geekery. Yay. Awesome. Fantastic. We also have the StreamYard people who have started to rock up. And just in case you don't know what StreamYard is, it is basically a video / what do you call it? It's like these guys, video callers sort of thing. Join if you want. There's a couple of spots left, so please join. Let's go across to the StreamYard feed, because they're all sitting there watching us. And we've got Henrik and Chris Bakeshifter. Yay! Welcome, guys.
Hey, hi, guys.
Hi, fellas.
Hi, guys. Hello.
Good day,
We'll do Henrik first.
Henrik.
There we are.
Oh, hi. Chris asked me a week ago if there was something new on its way. So I said no, but I did collect some and mastered some, so I'm preparing something for soon. Not yet, but soon.
Okay. Awesome. And also, Henrik, big thank you to you. You've been a massive part of the show over the years, with not only just being a person who's been on here, but also a person who contributes, helped us with topics and guests, and I just wanted to give you a big pat on the back, mate, and say thanks for being part of this community. It's awesome to have you. We are actually honoured to have you. Put it that way.
Oh, thanks.
Here.
Fantastic.
Here, definitely, yeah.
Yay! Now, and it's not least or less or anything like that, but Chris holding up the fort in the other part of the world, in Australia, just to make it so that I'm not the only Aussie on the show. Big hello to you, mate, and thanks very much for being part of this community as well.
No worries. Good to be here. Glad to be here. It's a big moment. 4 years.
Yeah, survived.
Yeah.
Haven't quit.
Well done. Don't
know why.
Yeah, no.
But...
Yeah. Well, I'm doing fine. I've had an okay week. I did a bit more work on the SG80. Oh, now I've forgotten what it's called. The SG82, the algorithm for variable step length. Working on that. I did a bit more work on my kick module, my little kick program for the lick, which is not finished yet. I have to work out the controls, and that's where I've come to a bit of a grinding halt. But it sounds pretty cool. It's I think Darren will like that kick sound. That's how good.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
That's
yeah.
me or Rave.
It should. Yeah, you or Rave, Dave. Yeah, I think so. It'll probably blow up my car speakers, but that's all good. Yeah.
You've hit
tried
the spot,
a few. Yeah, exactly.
Better than blowing up your car speakers. It's the best feeling ever. If it pops the back window out, you've done even better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Otherwise, you haven't tested the bass.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, did a bit of mucking about with 3D printed knobs for the GP82. Also, did a little bit of work on a. Knobs again. Yeah, sorry, I should clarify.
Chris has got 3D
Control
printed
knobs. 3D printed control knobs. Yeah, but
Did
that's
you send
okay.
one to Darren?
Thought you'd run into a different business there. We do.
I've got a lot of them. I've got a whole box full of knobs. Yeah, I've got a box full of knobs. I could send them all to Darren. I could get purple ones. I've got purple ones. I can have them sent to you, Darren.
That's it, purple. Yeah, purple ones are the best.
Purple
Keep
knobs.
going, Chris, because I'm just going to quickly cut across to the chatties. We've got another beautiful.
Chris a question.
Yep, just keep talking.
And
As long as it fits on a party picture.
I'm talking. Yep. So the knobs there. So the knobs are being tested. I've got some knobs that look pretty cool. I'll rip one off actually. Why don't I rip one off? There you go.
What, rip your
There's a
purple
knob.
knob off?
Thing is, we can't see
Oh,
this.
but no, it's not. It's orange.
Just wait, Chris.
That's an orange
Here we
knob.
go. There we go.
The chatties.
There we
I'm
go.
talking. I realise now. What
Robbie.
you meant.
Yeah.
Show
Show
us
us your knob then, Chris.
Show us your knob, Chris.
Oh, sorry.
You can hit you straight and pull it off.
Well, there's the
Flop
knob.
your knobs out, Chris.
It's another knob pick for the show, so we'll probably get delisted or demonetized or something.
yeah.
Now,
Shaking your
sorry
head
about
full,
that,
Robbie.
Rant. Sorry.
That's all right.
Can I just quickly?
That is a cute little knob, I have to say.
Shut up, Andy.
It is cute.
Just 1 second.
They are cute. Right? Quite addictive making them. I've got a whole family of them for different modules.
Hang on, Brooksy wants to.
Andy Brooks wants to say something.
Well, there's two things. Don't tell me. I wanted to say to Chris, or actually first to Darren, rip your purple knob off has got to be the next Grave Dave album title. Right, okay.
Hell yeah.
And if it's not, we'll be
It might be a track.
And I just
Because
get lost. And and I also wanted to ask Chris, what above his right shoulder there's a little sort of LED display with the waveform on it. Yeah, that what's that doing?
Yeah,
What's
that thing.
connected to, or is it just a pretty light?
I'm afraid it is just a pretty light. It's not an audio waveform. It's just an Arduino with a big fat dot matrix display that I make it do pretty pictures
it just
on.
keeps going.
Okay, I thought, ooh, that's.
It's a
keeps
Christmas
showing
tree
an
for
icon
Christmas.
All right.
Those things are-
That's so
So it
cool.
does lots of
Okay.
things. Yeah.
Right, okay. Let's
So,
start behaving again. I'm
Chris is
sorry.
in his nerd
Yeah.
crate right now.
I'm afraid you'll find there's very lots of LEDs and very little substance behind B.
I don't mind that. I think Darren and I are probably the same. We like flashing lights, and even if it doesn't make good music,
Oh, God.
it's got flashing lights.
Half of my
Well,
module was
as you
just
can see.
flashing lights. I don't even use it.
I have to
Everyone
say,
needs a Vegas
when I
mode.
was looking back through your video, all the previous shows, Ranzee, there is at least one show where Darren's got purple hair.
Oh, it is. Yes, I remember.
Oh
that,
yes,
yes.
I remember
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Another person's jumped into StreamYard, which is someone that we all enjoy
kick him out.
weekly on the
Kick
Pro
him
Synth
out.
Network. Is Robbie? Hello, Robbie.
Oh,
Hi, Rob.
Hello. I'm not going to stay, but because as you can see, I'm wrapping modules
Yes,
in
the boxes
bubble
and
wrap,
stuff.
and it's just But I just wanted to come on and say happy 4th birthday to the show from everyone at Pro Synth Network. I say everyone. That's obviously me, Kent, and Ben, and I'm sure I can speak on their behalf. And
Appreciate it, mate.
just wanted to say that we absolutely love everything you've done. You were part of the inspiration for us getting on air and doing something. We saw what you were doing, and we thought maybe we can offer something alongside that. And I think we complement each other really nicely. And I love the camaraderie between all of us. Yourself and us and the other channels. But congratulations on 4. And here's to another 4 and another 4 after that, and so on and so forth. So well done, mate. Keep it going.
Thanks, Robbie.
Thank you,
also,
Robbie. Thank you,
big up on your new place that you're getting, and I'm glad all that sort of eventually sorted itself out.
Yeah, it's been stressful. I woke up this morning and thought, oh God, I've got all this to do, and then something happens, and then something else happens, and I've only just started packing all the small bits in here, and the A-frame, the Jaspers are all coming down hopefully today, once everything's off them, and then I'll have a bit more room.
Robbie?
I will be labeling them. Yes.
Yeah.
Never far from my side. Never far from my side.
I've got 2 of those.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Because you always lose one.
Yeah, and you have to label them. You have to label,
You have to label.
You have to label
print
another
one.
one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just a never-ending loop. So yeah, the new. I went actually to see the new place again without anybody else being in there, because the first time I went there was obviously still a tenant in there, and it looked pretty okay. I'm increasingly confident now that I should be able to get pretty much everything in and a bit more, which is always nice. But I've still got synthesizers. I've got a new synthesizer coming next week, and I'm just like, do I leave it in the box? Do I get it out and have a play, then put it back again? What do I do? But yeah. So
Robbie's bought a Hydrasynth.
He has. What is this concept of buying synths?
It's a modular with a keyboard.
Oh no!
Fantastic!
No, it's a lovely brand new thing that
we'll
I think
get you.
most
Yeah,
people probably figured out what it is. But yeah, it's cool. No, you won't.
Awesome.
Honestly, you won't.
Yeah,
Yes, but anyway, I'm going to dive off now.
We're keeping strong, me and Rob.
Yes,
we, Rob? We're keeping strong on modular, you and me.
Absolutely. It will not happen. But I'm going to buzz off now because I've got things to do. So congratulations and hello to everyone. And yep, see you all soon. I'll be watching. You're on in the background.
Cheers, Rob.
Thank you, Robbie.
Take
care,
Robbie.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Now I did chuck the link to those who want to be with what Robbie just did. Join with your webcam and the mic. It's okay. Jump on. Like Ian said, like Brooksy said, it might be the first catalyst for you to do something new this year. Do something different. Maybe it might lead you down a path of something that you've never experienced. And that's kind of what we've always been about, haven't we, guys? We've always been about talking about what we do. And a lot of people in the general public would think that it's weird, or they haven't heard of it, or it's I get heaps of parents from my kids' school saying, "What are all those like music things in those photos of yours on your Facebook?" I'm like, "It's my hobby."
Yeah.
And it then springs into this nerdy conversation, which they give you sort of like funny looks and try and work out how they're going to exit from the conversation.
Walk away.
So this is where we get to talk about the stuff we like. This is what we do. Now I want to quickly sort of go back to the humble beginnings when I did my first stream, and this was pretty bad, pretty cringe. Here we go. My first stream. Here we are. Here we go.
You look so young.
Oh, little baby face.
It was only 4 years ago.
Is that the stress of shot?
Google. So I streamed for an hour and 42 minutes, and basically there was.
And can we get this to work this time?
There was nobody on the stream for probably the first 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to be. And basically what I was doing in that stream is I thought maybe someone might be interested in my workflow of a track that I made. And I did. I got a few people on the stream. Now, in those days, I used to use OBS Studio, and it was a nightmare. And Darren will remember these early days. We had when we started doing video guests, we had Skype as our video calling thing, and it was like having two cans with a bit of string. It was so precarious how that thing
No, it might have been better if it had two cans with a better string.
Probably. I don't know how I managed to get some of this crap to work. But luckily for us, one of the good things that came out of COVID was the absolute development of streaming and video and YouTube and all that sort of platforms just went nuts. And so people just poured all their money in development into it. And here we are today, and it seems like, it seems a lot more polished and everything, but I am no more polished than what I was 4 years ago. It's just the software that's making us look good, trust me. But yeah, so that was episode 1. I didn't actually call it Synth Geekery at the start. I used to just call it my live stream, so Ranzee's live stream. And it wasn't until episode 95 that we started calling it Synth Geekery. And I kind of thought we should give it a name. It's not live stream wasn't really that inventive as a name, right? Because everyone does a live stream. So that episode 95, since we've had the name Synth Geekery, and I think the logo came out not long after that, because I thought, well, maybe we should do a logo. It's all these things just sort of slowly, like a snail, evolve on this channel. But yeah, I want to know if anyone in chat right now watched that stream live. That'd be very interesting, because I couldn't find anyone that we kind of congregate with now in the chat. I had to look through the chat records, and there was hardly anyone there. There's a guy called The Fury who came in pretty early. I've never heard of him since. I probably scared him away. He probably sold all his synths. But yeah, it was.
You were well established when the first one I saw. There was definitely you, Dazza, Inky. Probably Darren was in it as well. There was. It was obviously fairly established at that point. So. But no, I wasn't in the first one.
Let me just quickly catch this one. Failed Muso, which is Robbie, by the way, if you guys don't know who that is. He was just on before. Big thank you, mate, for the £10. You didn't have to, but I really appreciate it, and hope the move goes well, as I said before. That's awesome. So I don't think there's anyone that was around in the early days in the stream.
I first found it because your JDXI videos. They're excellent. So
yeah,
taught me a lot. You and Woody Piano Shack had good JDXI content. So
yeah. And the thing is, I've actually probably stopped doing
MX1 was mine.
Those videos I've stopped probably now. I don't. It's not because I've wanted to. It's just you have to find the time to do it in your life, right? And when you're putting a show on each week, this takes work. But and it doesn't mean that I haven't got the love for doing the shows anymore. But yeah, I wouldn't mind getting back to doing some uploads. I think I've said that before. By the way, just so we know, one of the earliest people that we had as a guest on the show has jumped into chat, and his name is Michael B. And you guys will know him. And he's got up nice and early. So big shout out to you, Michael B. You're in the chat. He's in the, if I can remember, was it the Boston area of the US, I believe? So not quite as early as Andy's part of the world, but still early in the morning. So big shout out to you, mate. And I know he's stuck at, I don't know why, but good on you, mate. Awesome. And there we go. Yes, sir. He does some really cool stuff on his channel too. You should check him out. So yeah, we had him on as a guest, one of the earlier guests, that's for sure. Now, Darren, you're probably one of the first people on that stayed, right? That stayed on.
I was the only nutter that stayed.
We scared everyone else off. So
yeah. Yeah.
We'll go to you for a sec. Now, I just wanted to just personally say a big thank you to you, mate, for actually hanging around. We do enjoy the stuff that you bring to the show, especially the jokes, and we'll talk about those a bit later in a sec. But I do want to say a big thank you to you. You've stuck it out, and let me say that you're definitely part of Synth Geekery. So if that's a good thing in your eyes or not, but yeah, big thanks, mate, for everything you've done.
No, nice to me. I've got no. Yeah, it's been great, Rans. I mean, I think Ingy. I first seen you because I was looking for the MX1. I can't remember what I was looking for. I don't know if it was how to do something on it. I can't remember. That's when I first saw your channel. But then Inky told me that I should go on it, and then obviously we started. So I started chatting, and then he said we need to get I bought a cam, a webcam, and then I think it started from there with like say Dazza, the other side of Australia, and Inky and me. But it was such hard work because, like you say, trying to get everything to work, because it was always guaranteed that one or two of us wasn't working properly. We couldn't tell whether it was your end, couldn't tell it was our end. Then we'd be constantly freezing halfway through conversations when we was trying to work things out. So I think the first 5 or 10 easy was more just trying to get everything working seamlessly, so we could actually have a show. Because I can think 9 times out of 10 through the show, if we halfway through we'd have an issue and it'd go down, we'd have to try again. I think we did it a few times through the week, didn't we? Just have a quick check.
Yeah.
So get everything running, and like usual, everything's fine. It's all there. You don't touch it. You come back for the show live, and nothing works. So they were really tough days. Yeah. But it was just so weird because it was like literally I shut the studio and didn't touch a thing, and it was working fine when you switch it off. As soon as you start it up, nah. It took us the whole show to get everything working again, which by which point the show had finished. But it was good learning curve, and like I like saying now with it may come, but now it's just like a weekend now that I just separate this time from doing whatever I'm doing and come and enjoy the family.
Yeah, it was definitely was great that you did actually, and I think all of that stuff that we used to pull our hair out about with the OBS studio and the Skype calls and that, I just went, I've got to get this software, and I knew about it because there's a bunch of Australians that make the software that I use. If you're wondering what we're talking about, it's a bit of software called vMix, which is a streaming software, and I've had that since I don't know quite a long time now. And then I found out rudely what the price of the software was, and I'm like, oh my god, you want what? It's just streaming software. Anyway, so I thought, stuff it. I sold my OP1 to pay for the software so that we could actually have a bit more of a stable show. And the moment that we got the software loaded, it really just fixed up all the issues we had with the calls, didn't it, Darren? So it was pretty much.
We could actually have a show.
Yeah, it was a great decision. I don't miss the OP1, so I enjoyed it when I had it, and I don't miss it since. So don't worry about that. It's okay to sell your gear if you want to, as long as you're doing something good for it. The way I see it, the OP1 did something for me and this show, so we'll look at it that way, in a way.
But have you got more out of the OP1 now you've sold it than you did while you were using it? Because you've got a whole show and community through selling it, whereas with the OP1.
Yeah, the OP1 did appear on a few of my tracks early days. So one of the things I liked about it was probably some of the features that a lot of people would not even think that's what you use it for. But there was I think it's either a sequencer mode or an arpeggiator mode where you could set it to blues, and as you sort of smash the keys on the thing, it actually sounded pretty decent. And so you could kind of like, and I say this with a bit of tongue in cheek, but you could kind of not watch what you're doing on the OP1 and just kind of smash the keys while you're doing something more sensible on some other synth in front of you, and it would sound good. And you think, oh, okay, little happy accidents are popping out of this thing. This is awesome. So it's
that cool thing, the finger with the little guys.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's super hairstyles. Yeah. And the random thing where you have a ball going around and you can adjust the speed of the ball.
Oh yeah, that's cool too. Yeah. I do think that sort of stuff's really good, and I haven't seen that done. I've seen it done in other ways, but I haven't seen it done in that way, which I think
except for the new Roland box.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, good to know, Darren. Now, should we get into the show? I think we should get a show. We'll come back to some of this synth geekery reminiscing a little bit later, because I definitely do have some people who've contributed and they want to tell us what their favourite part of the show is. But I think we'll come back to that because we've got a normal show to get through, and everyone tends to like that. And I think it celebrates the show as well. Starting with this. Yes, if you do own a JU06A and you have been waiting for the firmware update, this could be you. I can tell you might as well just buy a System 8 and you've probably solved the problem there. But don't take it from me. Just hang out on that beach there. You never know. It might happen. Next. Wondering what this is.
It's so clever and so simple.
That is great.
Why has that not been seen before? It's so obvious.
Someone's found that and thought, that looks like that. Good on them. Next, if you've been wondering what chat GPT or whatever it is someone wanted to know how do you notice the icon about who it is that actually asked this question, Atari. How do you pronounce? Yeah. I'm going to say M-O-O-G because I'm not going to give it away. The correct pronunciation of M-O-O-G is like Moog with the long O sound. It rhymes with the word Vogue. And then you've got these guys down the bottom saying, they're idiots. Anyone knows it's pronounced Moog? That's dumb. It's clearly pronounced Moog. I don't agree with any of you. It's actually pronounced Moog. I think that's the idea, right? Someone should say Moog, right?
Moog, yeah.
Yeah, I think this joke's gonna just keep going for years because I think it's worth it. Someone's gonna ask how to spell it soon. What about the moment you wake up at night and realise that you recorded your DAW less or DAW-less jam in your DAW? Whoops. Yes.
All guilty as charged, my lord.
People do all the time,
yeah. Pain is real, people. Let's get down to some serious business. When you buy a bottle of scotch, the first bit's yummy, then everyone looks pretty. Then you want to buy a Volca, then you want to buy a Behringer, then you want to buy Roland, then you want to buy a Sequential, then you want to buy a Moog. Do not have a credit card near you when you get to the bottom of your bottle of scotch, let me tell you. And I think that's it. Yep, that's it. Beautiful.
At that time, it's pronounced Moog.
Yeah. It is indeed. Gentlemen and everyone else in the chat, tell us your favourite meme on our 4th birthday.
Piano finger for me.
Yeah.
Piano finger. Flipping the bird is a good one.
F key. Yeah.
Flipping the old bird. Yeah.
Yeah.
The old, can you hear this? Want me to turn it up a bit? Joke. Oh, Michael likes the Moog. Good on you, mate. The old Moog joke. JU6A says Apis Lapis. And let me tell you, he does the jokes as well. The piano. The ivory finger, the finger. I think the finger's going to come. What are you guys saying? You guys are all saying the finger?
I'm quite. I don't mind the JUA6 though, but I mean you can say that for quite a lot.
That was actually very good.
It was. When I saw it, I thought, that's got to go on the show. Don't know who did that, by the way. So if it was any of you guys, let me know in the chat. I do steal these things from Facebook and places. So
the Moog controversy is actually quite interesting. I'm reading the book on Bob Moog now. And he, I know, it's just. I do remember seeing an interview with him said, that he wasn't bothered that people called his synthesizers Moog, especially obviously over here in the UK, and apparently half of his family pronounced it Moog, and the other half pronounced it Moog. So it's obviously been a dilemma forever, really. And it started with his wife, who was a school teacher, and she got teased by the kids going Moog. So that's why he changed it.
Awesome. Now I had someone waiting in the waiting bay of StreamYard, and I'm sorry I didn't hear it go bloop. Usually I hear it go bloop, but Mr. Kent Spong, who's Uncle Mo.
Happy birthday!
Hey,
he's joined us.
Hi, Kent.
Hey, Kent.
Hi, Kent.
Yeah. It's Kilroy.
You have just the top of your head, though.
Kent's doing the Dickie Knee impersonation. He doesn't get that joke because he doesn't know who Dickie Knee is.
No.
It's an Australian joke. That one.
Oh,
we're getting drunk. We're getting drunk.
Old and worn out this morning. Look at that. Look.
Old and worn out. I doubt it.
There's a reason. Oh my god! This is suffering from what they call vintage analog synthesizer syndrome, which is you fix it, it works beautifully, it's in tune, and you stand it in a corner for 3 months, and when you pull it out, it's a bag of cats. It is absolute bag of cat. I don't turn it on because the smoke extractor isn't on. So,
Wow.
yeah, so happy birthday.
Thanks, mate.
All right.
Well, we're toddlers at the moment.
Well, you and me both. I think I did my 100th show last month, I think it was. But that's because I do like 6 or 7 a week.
Well, it's worth
So
it.
it doesn't really count.
It's worth it, you know. The show's fun.
And sometimes they're an entire day. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost him.
He's
Yeah,
He switched it on, didn't he?
Oh, there we go.
I
Sorry, he's
accidentally
back.
touched the off button. Yes. So, yeah, just a quick pop in to say happy birthday.
Appreciate
Hope
it.
everybody's cool.
Thank you, Kent.
Thanks, Kent. We love.
Thank you, Kent.
We love having
thanks,
you
Kent.
on.
good to see you, Kent.
cheers, mate.
Stick around if you want.
Take care.
Cheers.
Beautiful.
And don't forget, network, Fridays.
Hang on.
God's sake,
I lost it. Wait.
There you go.
Do it again. Do it again. Sorry, I lost it. Go.
A little bit of representing. Dog hair also included free. Husky. Don't cuddle husky.
That's got to be a new finish on the show, surely.
Yeah, dog
Obviously,
hair process
dog
network.
friendly.
I love it. It is amazing.
Look
Look at those dogs. They're the culprits in the background there. You guys are to
Yeah,
blame.
you're not coming in. Go away.
You're so sad. That's hilarious.
All right, take
That
care,
is-
guys, and God, yeah.
Thanks, matey.
See you, Kent.
Good on you. Cheers.
See you, Kent.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.
Once again, if you are one of those people like Robbie before and Kent, and you want to be part of the show and you want to jump on and say a quick word, you're allowed to do that by joining the link that it's just been put in your chat, which is bit.ly/Ranzee StreamYard. It's an easy one to remember, isn't it? I made it easier. It was better than the bunch of numbers and letters that StreamYard give you. What are you doing, StreamYard? Okay,
They'll copy serve addresses.
yeah, we have to get onto the news segment, and I did kind of give you guys a little sneak of what we're going to be talking about today. So let's roll the stinger. And okay, it wants to go with this first. The randomization of I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, I don't think we need to do that, but we could go. Where are we? We could go backwards. Anyway, let's do this in a weird sort of way. How do I do it? One back to there. There we go. Why don't we do it this way? Okay, starting with Behringer. Behringer. They've called this thing a BMX. Did you guys have a bike in the 80s called a BMX? We did in Australia.
did.
It was
We still
massive.
have. We
My
still
friends
have.
did, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
still a thing.
official sport, isn't it? In the
It's a sport,
the
yeah.
Olympics now.
That's what I thought.
With a
did you
chrome
guys have
ollie
a bike?
frame.
Tough
I had a
bear.
BMX. I used to hook around on the BMX and
That's right, and the chrome ollie, yeah.
yeah, had the mongoose.
I think the loop button is called cycle.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's talk about this briefly, people. This is the famous Oberheim DMX that has been remade by Behringer in their different form factor, which is very similar form factor. If you're wondering, hey, that looks like something like an RD9. Well, you're probably right, because it's probably the same chassis that they've used in the RD8 and the RD9. But if you're wondering about Oberheim DMX, I don't know if you've ever heard of New Order's Blue Monday, but that's like, you know, the probably the biggest DMX track I've ever heard, I think, with that drum machine.
Quintessential.
Yeah. But then many other musicians have used the DMX in many songs over the 80s and 90s and even 2000s, whatever. So, you'll know it. But now you can get it with the Behringer badge, and all those 8-bit, 12-bit samples that were in the original are going to be in there apparently. And they also are going to be able to give you the ability to sample in this as well, which is interesting. This is why I want to show it, because this is kind of what we've asked Behringer to do. Don't just remake stuff and don't do anything with it. Do something a bit different with something that was good in the old days and make it more modern. I think this is an example of them doing that, because if we look at the original, which is here, you can see they had telephone buttons on it and sliders. They didn't have nice silicon pads in those days, but you've got nice pads. You've got sliders are still there. You've got the pinstripes that are still there. Yes, they've kind of kept the idea of the DMX in this, but you've also got the ability to sample, which I think is a cool addition. And I think anyone who ever owned a DMX back in the day, in the 80s, would have thought, I would love to put another sound in this thing. And you had to buy a chip to do it. But I would love to put my own sound in this thing, because this is frustrating. I'm getting so sick of the same sounds. And, here we are with 2023 technology, and you can easily do it. So,
and you also have the option to pull off the screen sticker. You have that on the old one.
Yeah, you do.
Take it off. Same thing there.
Yeah. Now the other thing that's good about this is the back of it is going to have kind of similar sort of connectivity to the RD9, RD8 ones that they made. So you got your main outputs, your headphones. There's your input for your sampling. You got individual outputs for percussions and cymbals and hi-hats and stuff like that. You've got some trigger outputs, your sync, MIDI, USB Type B. Thank you very much. None of this USB micro crap. 12 volt DC on the back. Price. I think no one's told us anything at Behringer, by the way, but I think it's probably going to be a similar price to the RD9 and the RD8. What do you think, guys? Who wants to talk about this quickly? Hands up. Hands up in StreamYard if you want to talk about it too. Andy's going to go on first. Brooksy.
Yeah, I actually think it. I mean, I saw one comment that said I didn't like the look of it. I think that was Culture of Ghost, but I actually do. I think it looks nice. I mean, it retains that essence of this is clearly related to Behringer, to Oberheim, but it's clearly different. It's not exactly the same. They've got the other things that are in it or on the panel are taking it into different territories. And I mean the idea of getting new sounds into a DMX was a big faff. I mean, that's why Oberheim released that thing called I think it was called the Prommer, where you could put your own EEPROM chips in and burn your own sounds into them and then put them into the DMX range of things, Yep. But what a bloody faff, And this, if you can actually do some sampling, even if it's pretty basic, what a great addition. And I'm glad that they've done it rather than just going, this is an identical copy of what was available in 1981. Why would we want that now? We want, as we've said, give us the feel of the old stuff, but the flexibility of modern technology. And I think they've probably done it. But as we've always said with Behringer, when will we actually be able to see it?
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And hear it. Even just hear it.
Yeah.
Can we hear it? Like, you're showing us photos of this thing.
Yeah, I have to say that, those original DMX songs were great in the 80s. Now, it's great if you want those sort of sounds, but you can get them as samples now and stick them into a Roland TRS, stuff like that. So,
exactly.
Sorry? Say again, Darren.
I said any sample now. I
any
just said
sample,
any,
yeah, exactly.
Any sample.
Yeah,
now,
So I think it might end up to be a bit of a one-trick pony. It depends how much you can sample into it and what you can sample into it. The sort of price, if you're right, Ranzee, it is,
could be
300 quid. I don't know really. I wouldn't be interested in it. But and for the looks, the stripe, the sort of pinstripe thing, it's slightly distracting, I think, for me.
Yeah, a little bit brighter, isn't it? Because the Oberheim one was a blue stripe, and this one's kind of more of a white. I don't know if it's white, but it looks white.
Yeah, it just looks a bit slightly distracting.
I wonder if there's a what do you call it, an intellectual copyright sort of thing on that design.
There might well be, Andy. I would have thought so, actually. Yeah.
It is nice that they added more stuff to it, like they should. So they.
Oh yeah, Yeah, definitely.
Sort of just a quick copy, But it's funny that the new pads are kind of a nice thing in a way, because the last day at Synthplex, and I did a walkthrough of the Moog ZM room with all the Oberheim stuff and all that stuff, and there was a guy hammering away on a DMX in there. Not only did it look like, oh man, he's really banging on this thing badly, it's Marcus Ryle's DMX, but it's also really annoying how loud the click is. It's like,
it's like an old telephone.
He's doing it.
Yeah.
So, and kind of like the SP1200 did the same kind of thing. They were hard buttons. So the
Triple
softer
D1
buttons
does
would be
it
nice
too.
for pounding. Yeah, so I mean, it's the soft buttons are a nice feature. Plus, you notice how many more they added. So the sequencing potential will be much greater as well if they do it right. So you can. It's a cool idea. Yeah.
Chris wanted to
grabs are nice.
Add to it.
I was going to say the Triple D1 has those bangy buttons on it as well. Whenever you tap down, people halfway down the street can hear you banging them. But anyway, the DMX stuff, I've always loved the samples. I've always loved the sound, but I had no real interest in the machine. And when I saw this, I was quite surprised that it had that kind of interface and had this filter and the way it sort of. I was intrigued because I'd never really explored that aspect of it. Yeah. I thought that might be interesting. And then you say we can sample. That could be interesting because it does have an 8-bit mode and a 12-bit mode, I believe.
Yep.
So it can play the samples super gritty and 12-bit, which is kind of MPC territory. So it might be interesting. Might be worth checking out.
Yeah,
it's got a joystick as well.
It really
it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier than trying to get the sampling option on my Triple D1 working, which I did explore, as someone mentioned it in the chat, that it would sound pretty cool, but a lot of hard work and it's very old 80s technology. This sounds like it could be considerably easier.
Yeah.
So might have a look at it.
I think it'll come down to how well they implement the sampling thing. When I say thing, it's the software that goes into the hardware, right? So, and I've seen so many people say, "Oh, we're going to make a sampler," and they do, and the software is SH1T, and no one wants to buy it because it just doesn't work properly. Anyway, we're going to show something a little bit later in the show too that may put some ideas in people's heads about sampling too. That's for sure. Right, let's go to the next, because we have next, and that is this baby here. This is the MS-5, which is a SH5 clone, and I think I've got an SH5 next. No, is it next? No, it's next. There it is. So that's what an SH5 looks like, if you didn't know. If you go back to, where is it? Is it this one? Or this one? It's probably better this one. The layout is pretty similar. There's a couple of slight different things on there, but they've pretty much copied the SH5 layout. So that if you kind of think to yourself, that's cool, I want to get an SH5 sound, then this could be for you. Once again, I don't have any audio with this. Behringer have been talking about this now for 2 years, by the way. So this is not the first time we've mentioned it. It's not the first time other people have mentioned it. What's interesting though is that I guess what they're saying is they're going to put this into beta testing and production. So I don't know how long the beta testing goes for. Someone who's been involved with Behringer beta testing before may be able to tell you that, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 12 months.
I think about, you've only got a picture of it, is that correct?
We've only got a picture of it. It does exist.
Okay, so it's 2 years. We've now got a picture, so it's another 2 years for beta testing.
No, they've had this picture.
The
they've had this picture floating around for about a year too, by the way.
Yeah,
so,
I was working on the time, so 2 years, and then another 2 years, and then they'll say it's going to be shipping in 2030. Yeah, that's about right.
I guess.
Darren.
Interesting connection on the back. This is pretty similar to the Poly D, if you guys remember that. So it's got similar sort of layout and design to the Poly D, obviously with the SH5 feel to it. I don't know, just to refresh people's memories, the SH5, what made that synth really kind of unique was obviously the multi-mode filter was probably the most famous thing on that. which really had a bit of grit and artifacts in that filter, which was probably the real big
and
thing
the
about
mixing
it.
of the oscillators.
And there is a VCA on this thing which has a stereo output, and it gave you the ability to pan, which was actually kind of new for the 1976. We're talking about here, and also the ring mod on it was pretty cool as well. So, yeah, guys, I want to talk about the MS-5 quickly. Who wants to? Henrik, did you want to say something?
Only the oscillator section. You can mix them. It's more the mixer section. You can blend different waveforms to the final oscillator. I'm not sure it's only a mix. It's not the waveform that changes. It's only the mix.
So it's a sound mixer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Anyone? Sorry, I didn't notice anyone put their hand up to say anything.
I don't want to think on Behringer, but can they run to can they split the company so they can have a retro cloning side and then a futuristic looking forward inventive side? And I'm not dissing Behringer in one way, but I'm just thinking, if every old retro synth disappeared when you woke up tomorrow, what would they do? It'd be running around going, we can't make a synth. I just want them to do something new. Something complete, don't forget, just something. Can't they just think of something new? And I'm not dissing them because I do have some Behringer bits, but it's just I just want to do something.
No, you're right. You're right, Darren. You are right. Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
We want to see more.
Yeah.
And I would love
the other thing.
I would love an update of the DeepMind where the effects actually fitted in the mix, because when you are mixing the DeepMind with other synths, you have to switch off the effects. The effect sounds great, but only alone, not with other synths. So they have to fix that. They have to upgrade the DeepMind. That's what I want.
You can turn off the effects.
Yeah, but then you can use any other cheap synth instead of the DeepMind. So
I don't know how many. You got to think about this. When the DeepMind came out, how many 12-voice analog, synths were available at that price at the time? And now,
yeah, but it was the effects that sold it.
I don't think so.
The effects.
I don't
think
agree.
so.
No, I think the effects were
and the
a
fact
bonus.
that you had an app which you could use an iPad and things to talk to it, which was.
I mean, a lot of. Sorry, Darren. Go on.
No, all I was going to say, Behringer years ago got stuck into a thing where they were just known as a cheap, not very reliable sort of company that was making stuff. If they're not careful, they're going to get stuck into another sort of thing where they're just a cloning company they can't make their own products, and then they're going to go through that. It's just make something. Right, I'm leaving my rant. That's my rant over.
Fair enough.
I mean, if this is going to be the same sort of price as the Poly D, which was $800 ish, something like that.
Yep.
It's a bit pricey, isn't it, for a Behringer clone of a mono synth?
I don't think it'll be as expensive as that. It's only 2 oscillators, so
it might be cheaper. Yeah, I'm only hinting at that because we don't really know what price it's going to be. Yeah. All right.
But, on the other hand,
at least they made a few new things.
I do think that the picture of the what they call it, the MS-5. I think it's a beautiful looking thing. Compared to I can understand why people thought that the BMX thing looked ugly, but I think it looks beautiful. I think that they've absolutely, if that's what it looks like when it comes out, that to me is a thing of beauty. That is really beautiful. I love it. And in terms of design, they've got that one right.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually the new BCR will come out, and they invented that, so they have new things here and there.
I'm kind of a little bit different to you guys. I agree with Darren. I definitely think Behringer should be making innovative stuff, and I think they are. I think that BMX is kind of heading in that direction. I think some of the other things that they have said that they're going to do I won't go into it, but there are a bunch of products they've said they're going to do, which I think will head in the right direction. But at the same time, I would really like someone to make a VCS3, by EMS, because, God, they're expensive to buy from EMS. Like for what they are, they just are really insanely expensive. And I don't mean that in a derogative way. It's just that it's out of reach for me, for someone with my budget.
It's the out of reach. I mean, you know that they're all absolutely hand-built, component by component.
Lovely stuff.
Component. Everything is put together. So that just means that the price of one is going to be astronomical, but there is such a demand that the waiting list for them is huge.
Yes.
It's like something like 10 years. You say
8
you want
years.
one, we'll go,
8
years.
Yeah.
You can have one in 2031. Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant!
And
I'll be dead by then.
what's the point?
I mean, they're telescopes that take 7 years to build, so there are a lot of things that take time.
I understand, and I think for some people that actually is a really important thing for them. But for me, I actually, it's a choice. Do I not deserve to do music with something like that? And I can't because I don't have a Lamborghini parked in my front driveway, or I have the patience of a saint to wait 8 years for something. I think that Behringer did a really good job of making the 2600, and there's people that will rubbish it, and I think that there's definitely some evidence out there that it doesn't sound exactly the same as the originals, but it sounds like a 2600 to me. I'm having a lot of fun with mine. Darren's got one above his head there. I'm sure a lot of people have enjoyed it. I think Andy, you've got one too, haven't you?
Yeah.
So this is
like
kind of...
I would like one.
This Behringer for that. I just wished it.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I agree with you, Darren, and I also agree that they should be making clones. Like, Roland will not make an SH5, no matter how much you brow bash him.
Ranzee, I agree with you. I think they should keep the cloning thing because it's great, because I could never afford a TB0303, and to have one at a fraction of the cost is great, and I think they should keep doing that. I just wish they'd they can even, if they do have a future sort of eye to it, where they're creating completely new ideas, new synths, new technology, they can always pipe that down into the retro stuff if they want to, like you say, combine things. Yeah, swing.
That is what they shouldn't be doing.
Swing.
No, that was out of order.
That's what
Definitely.
they shouldn't be doing.
They lost a lot of goodwill from that. A lot of people who had goodwill for Behringer suddenly thought, that's bad.
By the way, I never bought that. If everyone is anyone, they've sent it to me.
Well,
now,
the cork sniffer was the worst thing, obviously. But
I don't mind.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, I did a video on the cork sniffer.
I don't mind them making
That was the
stuff
worst thing.
as long as they're not treading on anyone's toes. If there's businesses that are struggling out there and they're trying to sell product and they come in and undercut them, and it's something that they're currently making, I think that shouldn't happen. So I think
it is time for Behringer to do their own thing, purely their own thing.
They've
and I
got
think
enough.
people will be interested in it.
They've got enough information now, haven't they? Don't you think?
The one synth which is truly theirs, the Neutron, is a very, very highly regarded piece of kit. People who have them really like them. So
they're nice.
And that let me shout out to who is behind the Neutron. They're the guys from Midas, right, in the UK. They designed that. Yep. So there are a bunch of UK engineers, not saying that Australian engineers are worse or US engineers are worse. No. It's not about that. Or Chinese are worse. Actually, Chinese make some really good shit. So, let's not be racist or anything about it. But it's just that the guys at Midas were always good at doing what they wanted. They were good at design, and they had some really good engineering background with some of the beautiful mixes that they made in the past. And they had some really good freedom from Behringer. And if it wasn't for Behringer, they wouldn't have made some of those products like the Neutron and the DeepMind and some of the other things that they've made. So, yeah.
Well, you think, don't you, that the knowledge that Behringer have for creating all this clone stuff and the technical stuff and to build all this, you think they could just, it'd be so easy, and they could come up with so innovative, I can't even say it, new ideas for new synths or or music equipment and it doesn't have to be a synth. It's like they can do two. They can do the both.
Yeah, they can.
I can go buy my cheap TD3.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page, Darren.
Well, even their new mixers that came out after Midas merger, they are much better. You know, iPad controlled mixers, all kinds of clever stuff. So
yeah, apparently those guys have left Behringer now. Anyway,
so what Goose says.
The interesting thing is like the System 100 stuff that Brooksy and I got into Behringer Eurorack because of was their System 100 stuff, and if it wasn't for AM Synths, they wouldn't have had that. So, you know, they've been lucky with some of the people that have collaborated with them. Yeah. All right. We should head on to the next. Where are we with the next? We did the SH5.
Just on the SH.
So are you on the Chompi yet?
We're on the Chompi now. And this was the
Chompi.
This was the stupid reference I said, chomping at the bit. Get it? Chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
Bad joke.
Yes.
I do have a video lined up for this. I was going to play a couple of videos with the
Hello
other
and
thing,
welcome to
but
Chompi Club.
Let's do this.
Today we are super excited to introduce to you Chompi, a magical tape music instrument. My name is Tobias, and in this video I'm going to walk you through some of Chompi's unique workflow. To get started, why don't we begin by recording a new sample up here in Chompi's sampling engine. To do this, we just flip the mode switch into the upward position and press the Chompi key. We can immediately play our sample on our chromatic keyboard down here. Okay, but if we want to make a new sample and that one wasn't quite perfect, we can always press the key again. Now, for the purposes of this video, I think we should probably start with something slightly more melodic than that. Yeah, let's use that. It's best practice to move this mode switch into the downward position once we have a sample that we like, and that way we don't accidentally replace it with something else.
All right, guys, so it is a bit tutorial, this video, so I'm going to run through this a bit quicker. So there's a sampler on the left. You've got some sample controls next to the button with the little goggles on, which is to do with start and stop of the sample. Then you've got this, next to that sort of purple dial, you've got a pot with a encoder, and that's the FX thing. I'll talk about that in a sec. And then where that purple dial is, that's your looper. And so the looper is, the purple dial is backwards and forwards, reverse and forwards. Obviously play and pause, and it's an overdub looper. Now, I do want to sort of show you the looper when he gets to it. Here we go.
Chompi's looper.
So one thing that you'll notice about that looper straight away is he was continuing the overdubbing as it. There was no sort of visual indication for me about seeing where the loop started and stopped. You basically were just having to use your ears, right? And I think that would take a bit of practice. So for me, I would have liked to have seen some sort of visual indication about how long the loop is for. But this part I actually think is really, really cool, and he'll show it now.
At any point in time, we can record and layer our samples into Chompi's looper. This is the loop key, this is the play and the pause key, and this is the transport knob.
So we got some droney stuff now, and he's adding effects in.
Magic.
That's what he calls this effect. It's basically just a delay.
Now, while our loop is playing, we can also make new samples to add to our loop. Why don't we make a shaker? We can do this as many times as we want to.
Now he's overdubbing. All right. So anyway, we get the gist of it, but I kind of needed to show you a fair bit of that because it kind of doesn't make sense unless we see, the major things. Now there was a few other things that he was talking about in there. One of them was the effects. You saw him use the effects knob, and he called it Magic. That's the main effects at the start, which is like a granular delay reverb built into all things. The problem I've got with the knob is it's a rotary encoder. There's no way that you know whether you're at a point. And there is an effect that he's got on here, which is a filter effect where it goes into low pass to the left and high pass to the right. And the LED is the only thing that indicates to you where you're at on that effect. And that would be very, very difficult to sort of know. So from my point of view, there's a couple of little things that they haven't quite got right with this. And I'm sure because it's in the Kickstarter sort of stage, they should be listening to us about it. Anyway, the big thing I like about this is the instantaneous ability for this to play a sample straight away that you've recorded. It's so instantaneous, and this is what I love. All right, who wants to talk about this first?
I quite like this. Oh, go. No, Andy, you go.
So yeah, Daisy's interesting. It came out in 2020 as a Kickstarter. They had a guitar pedal, they had a synth, they had a modular thingy you could play with, and they're all around the same price range. So I know people are upset about the price, even the Kickstarter price, but it's based on what their history is for this device. It's in the ballpark. So it's not, it looks it's just a fancy SK1, but no, it's a lot like the OP1, to be honest. I mean, it's much simplified compared to the OP1, but the immediacy, it's tactile. I know that you want to have more indicators and more like detents and things like that on there, but at the same time, you go to something like an old Emax where it was all by feel and by listening, and less on the visual side. So it's kind of harkens back to some old school stuff where you have to actually get a relationship with it, and you could have a lot of fun with it. But I could see the complaints people have about it. It's pretty cool though. I'm on the fence about it because I have so much crap kind of like this already. But the built-in handle, it's very friendly, it looks sturdy, portable. It's perfect for a park bench for Darren. So it
is
good to go.
I didn't mention it. It is powered by USB-C, so it doesn't have a battery in it, as far as I know. This was that thing that you were talking about, Andy. This is the Daisy Field that you can buy from Electrosmith. Now, Electrosmith aren't Chompi. So I think they're a different company. Someone needs to correct me if I'm wrong here, but Electrosmith are the people behind the Daisy platform.
They made the platform,
which you can see in the top. You can see in the top left-hand corner is that little bit of electronics, and that's basically like a Raspberry Pi / Arduino teensy type thing. It is open source too, so that is cool. Now there's a bit more to talk about, but I want to go to Ian now because Ian, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was quite excited about it. I mean, the Chompi thing, I thought, well, actually, I've got an OP1, so most of what that will do, I can already do. So, but I quite like the look of it, and it's quite sort of kiddie like. I was much more excited by the fact it was using the Daisy platform, which is a step in the right direction, because I have this theory that down the road, synths are going to become more and more open source, and we're going to be able to program stuff and then load it in, a bit like the organelle, that type of thing. Now, this Daisy platform will actually use Max MSP Gen tilde, which I've done a little bit in. But when I looked at the videos, it's incredibly convoluted how you get it into the Daisy field. Now, what the Chompi thing said, it just said possible programming. Now, I don't know whether down the road the Chompi's going to be able to be something else because you can program it or not, really. It was quite vague about that.
Yeah, it was vague.
It's definitely a step in the right direction. I agree with Andy about the price. I think the price is too much.
Yes, $4.99 if you're early
for a Kickstarter, and
then $5.99 if you
If it was $300 to $400, then it would be a punt. And I mean, I like it. If you
have rich parents, it's an easy thing, right? So
let's run over the specs quickly, because we didn't talk specs. Okay, so I'm just going to read this because I'll forget otherwise. You get tape looping style sampling, looping multi-effects. You can play the samples up to 7 voices of polyphony. The sampler can record up to 6 hours of internal sampling time, so that's on its own internal memory, and there are 40 preset slots as well. The sample engine provides the options to modify the speed, the direction, the start and the end point, which we saw in the video. And there's also an AD envelope generator, a single knob effects with lo-fi, granular, reverb and delay, which we saw. The looper seems interesting, I think, with the overdub, that's for sure. The transport controls, scrubbing and playback speed direction is also really handy. So for me, it's all about the sampling, the chomping and the playback on the fly. I think that's kind of where this thing really sings, and I actually like the development of it so far. As I mentioned before, it's USB-C powered with a built-in mic and SD card. It has a stereo line, input and output headphones, and also MIDI support. So that's the specs. Who else wants to comment? Darren, you want to say something, didn't you?
I really like it, but like you say, the cost and Kickstarter is a little bit... Yeah, but I really like it. I sort of partly agree with you with the fact that it needs some sort of like little screen just so you know whereabouts the sample is. But on the other hand, if you do that, then people are always going to want more added to the screen, which then becomes complicated because they want this, this, and this. Whereas as it is, it's quite raw, and I really do like that. Park bench compatible. That's what's going to be one of my things now. It'd be park bench compatible or not. But I really do like it.
BBC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, BBC. BBC.
I'm gonna have to do
BBC.
I'm gonna have to do a guide on. Yes, I might do a T-shirt, park bench compatible. Yeah, sorry, I'm good.
Definitely.
I might even do a little album, park bench album.
Yeah.
Sorry, you'll have to go off me now. I'm getting loads of ideas coming into me now.
The longest running joke on
instead
this
of talking about your bastard, let's talk about your Chompi.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, I might get in touch with Bastard as well.
You're up.
Yeah, I just want to say I thought this was great. I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. Every sampler that I've ever owned has been a bit of a faff. And, you've got to work hard to get things to sit right and play right and loop this, that, and the other. And I just thought the immediacy of this, people have mentioned the SK one, but music.
Sorry.
Today we're happy to...
Sorry.
Oops.
Keep going.
And
my mouse died on me.
I just thought the immediacy of it, I found very appealing. I just thought, that's really very cool. Yes, it's expensive. I suspect it'll probably come down in price. Really, I think when they realise that. But what's not to like about a thing that you can just put a sound in and chuck it and play about? There was a comment about the RC505, which I think is probably one of its competitors, if you know what I mean, because the RC505 is just brilliant, isn't it, really? So
how much are they, though? I think that there was a smaller one of that, wasn't there? The 202 or 303?
There's a 202, which is
one,
actually maybe even the 202 might be even more comparable. But yeah,
good points.
Well, they've taken the bit out of Chase Bliss habit as well, aren't they? In a way, some little bits taken from that in a way.
I definitely think they've stolen some ideas from Eurorack as well, because there's some really interesting samplers on Eurorack.
Yeah, which is great. See, Behringer, this is what you... Now, Behringer can clone this. Probably will if it becomes popular.
But it is like an old school thing. You could do similar stuff with it, but I would say it's pad-based. But, it just needs... There's very little visual feedback. You still have to use your ears and your feel. So it had a screen, but it's an LED screen. But these are great fun. You still have to fiddle with it. Chompi is probably a little more immediate because you don't have to worry about the screen. You just use your ears and get used to it. This had some deeper menus and stuff. So.
Yeah, I definitely think Chompi's got the legs. That's for sure. Okay, right. We should
need to sort the price out, I'm afraid.
We should move on to the next. I think maybe they're trying to gain some momentum with their business, so that could be a bit of it. Don't forget, boutique companies do not have the financial backing. So, I mean, $500. If you got to think about this from your point of view, if you were to make something from scratch in your little home, and someone said, "Oh, I don't want to pay you anything more than $200 for it," you'd be like, "Well, bugger it! I'm not going to sit here for weeks soldering this thing and screwing it all together." So you know what I mean? Like, that's the way I see it. Is if I was in their shoes, how much do I want to earn? And there's got to be even $500 for them would probably be quite cheap in terms of they don't know how many of these they're going to sell. Obviously, the Kickstarter has a goal. So that might be something to do with it, but yeah, it's always a gamble with these things, right? Next, Hydrasynth Firmware time! Yay!
Yep.
I was sorry about that, Brooksy. I was trying to get this video lined up, and the mouse died on me. But yeah, let's have a look at a couple of the things with this now. If you're wondering what this is about, it's Hydrasynth 2.0 for those who own one. For those who don't own one, if you buy Hydrasynth, you'll get 2.0 that you can download and put on anyway. So more memory with I think with the deluxe version of Hydrasynth, you got eight banks of patch storage anyway. So this actually just brings up all the other models to the same. So that's a good thing. And some of the new performance features is this sustained pedal with a couple of new modes on there. The sostenuto mode, the mod only mode, that's pretty interesting. The mod strip wheel has a vibrato now with greater resolution. It has a glissando option, which is new. The ARP range has been increased to 6 octaves and can be offset with forward, back, and up to 32 steps, which is really, really cool. There's an awesome ARP on this, by the way. New voice mod options, which we'll show you for the mod matrix, and one-shot LFO, which is interesting as well. So I thought we'll have a look. Glenn's on here, so good on you, Glenn. Voice modulator. Let's have a look at Glenn, what he says here.
We have a new modulation option in the voice page called the voice modulator. This module allows you to set offset values on each voice. You can then route the voice modulator in the modulation matrix. You can route it to any modulatable parameter. The voice modulator is excellent at creating variations on each voice.
This is the oscillator bit reducer.
Each oscillator can now have its own bit reduction. You can dial it down from its full bit depth all the way down to 2 bits. This is not only a great way to get more vintage digital sounds, but it allows you to create new waveforms when used in the extremely reduced values. We've added the ability to quantize the LFO waveforms into different step values. You can hear the effect of an LFO routed to pitch using different quantized values. One example of using a quantized LFO to a function like WaveScan can give you interesting stepped wavetable effects.
Like that.
As with the LFO quantize function, we've added quantize to the envelopes as well. Here's a quick example of using a quantized envelope to filter a cutoff.
This is so cool. This is the sustain stuff.
We now have new sustain pedal options in the voice page. Previously, the sustain pedal only affected the envelopes to give you typical sustain pedal functions. Now it can be set to a modulation source, the standard sustain pedal, or a sostenuto pedal, so you can hold notes while playing over them.
I like this. Definitely cool.
We had many customers asking for more resolution in the vibrato amount to get more subtle modulation. Now we allow you to set it in 1/10 of a semitone steps. There is now a glissando option in the different glide settings. While glide will bend from note to note in a smooth way, glissando will move chromatically from note to note. One big help for people who want to record a sound dry without effects is the ability to bypass effects globally. You can choose each effect engine to mute separately.
It does sound good on the
people want to bypass the reverb and the delay when recording, but you have the option to do them all.
All right, so I'm not going to go through all the rest of that, but you get your idea. That's actually a pretty massive firmware update for those who have Hydrasynths already. If you haven't bought a Hydrasynth yet, maybe this might be the catalyst for you to get it, because I think some of these just show you just how much the ASM people are listening to their customers. So a lot of these have been ideas that they've been floating around, and customers have said, "Oh, we'd like this." Like the Glissando resolution was a really good version of that. And some of these have been their own internal ideas that they've punched out from the engineers. So, anyone here with a Hydrasynth? There is a Henrik with a hand up. We're gonna.
And he's got one as well.
And he's got one as well. I'm just going to go to Henrik first because I know he's...
Yeah. I have to mention 2 more new things which were not mentioned. One of them is the options to detune each voice. So it's even more like an old analog synth with drifting and all that. That's one of the new options. There was some options for that earlier, but this now it's even more detailed of what you can do. What was it? It was oh damn, I forgot.
That's right.
But I love the mini banks. I've already filled them up on mine.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. I'll try to remember while someone else talks.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the fact that they made the bank number the same in all of the units now. So because I was filling up mine pretty easily with a bunch of presets that I got. So that's cool, and the analog style features are great. I put a couple links in the chat, some really good demos. You probably can't play Ranzee because they're musical. I'm not gonna claim, but Dominic Au's video from ASM was really good, showing all the stuff musically.
Saw that.
And the one that Daniel
Scotty
Fisher did from Sweetwater is cool. Yeah, he has one as well. Yeah, I haven't seen his yet, but the Daniel Fisher one is cool because he goes into some of the more stuff with the glissandos and stuff as a musical option.
Yep.
And how to make some soundscapey stuff with it. So it's cool. I haven't had a chance to update mine. In fact, I didn't even update the last time they had an update, so I'm behind. It's a great synth. I just need to put more time into it. So
that does go to show that their firmware aren't like fixing massive, huge errors. They're actually adding value.
Yeah, I did. I installed it yesterday afternoon. It's a quick install. I mean, I've not had much time to explore the new settings. I'm really quite keen on the glissando. I did mess around with that, and the ARP range thing. The fact that the ARPs are now expanded to 6 octaves, and I also believe, but don't quote me on this, the ribbon is expanded to 6 octaves. But I've been looking through the sort of new manual that came with it, and it doesn't mention that at all. But I'm sure somewhere on a video, might be in one Glenn's video, somebody said something about the ribbon being, having, because it was 4 octaves before, it's now 6 on my. I've got the original Hydrasynth.
Yeah.
But massive. It's a massive update, really, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, everyone seems to be pretty chuffed. Yeah. All right, we probably talked about that enough. I think we can go on to the next.
I wait. I remember what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me just grab you.
It's about the local off function, where you can switch off the keyboard so it doesn't play internally, but sends it out via MIDI. And to play the synth, you have to return it to MIDI again. It's useful indoors for people who doesn't know about it. But the problem is. There were a lot of people who wanted it to remember the local off, so when you switch it off and on, it should remember that setting.
Yeah, your slave state.
But they didn't want to implement it because they were afraid of those who didn't know what local off was, who just messed with the settings, and suddenly they had a synth they couldn't use. So
broken,
they were they were afraid of returns because of that.
Well, it's a big thing. It really is.
But
it's a big
that's
thing.
because people have gone out of the habit of using MIDI properly.
But they have integrated it now, and they did it with a note on the display. So if local off is turned off, then when you start the synth, it will display also while it's playing. It will display local off is on. So
that's good.
So
awesome.
Good.
Yeah, listening.
Okay, let's go next. Next is not the Hydrasynth. It is updated. The new synth from Waldorf, which is the M16, and no, it's not an assault weapon from Vietnam. This one is a 16 voice, double the 8 to the 8 from the 8 voices of the original. So don't forget, it's a 4-part multi-timbral wavetable synth. Now this is just to refresh you. If you guys don't have one of these and you've forgotten about this synthesizer is a wavetable synth with 2 oscillators per voice and an analog filter and analog VCA per voice. Just remember that. So it's a true hybrid synthesizer, and the only other synth, well, not the only other synth, it's probably not the right thing to say. The similar synth to this would be a Novation Peak in its sort of architecture. So they play differently, but they have a similar sort of architecture in terms of that hybridness to it. They are very warm sounding as well because of that. So that 16 voice is huge because it's kind of like, if you're looking at the Novation Peak reference, it's kind of like now that Waldorf M has now become a Summit. Do you see this? Yeah, do you see it? Yeah. So, should we be reminded about it? Let's be reminded about it.
I still love my original one.
Hang on a sec, Andy. This is the original M, if you're wondering. If that didn't wet your whistle, I don't know what would. It's 16 voices now, people. 2,000 euros ish, a little bit over 2,000 euros for the big one. It's still $14.99 British pounds for the original 8 voice, and it's still available in the 8 voice format. I don't know. I just kind of feel that's a pretty cool thing to do. Instead of making a different synth, they've made another model and given you an option. It's kind of what Novation did with the Peak. Yeah.
I'd like to ask how they've managed to double the amount of VCFs and VCAs in there with a firmware upgrade. Because a firmware upgrade is a digital upgrade. So if you're going to double the number of VCFs...
It's not a firmware upgrade.
No, you put in cards.
It's a new synth.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
That's
Stupid
okay.
Me.
Yeah,
no, that's fine.
But no, I thought it too. That was how I read the Waldorf announcement, that it was a firmware upgrade.
No. It's a new synth. I'll bring the graphic up again. So the little 16 on the top right hand corner. So and that's why they're a different price.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can. They talked about an upgrade. I thought I saw them talk about an upgrade that you could put in an
me
additional
too, Chris, but
card. Yeah.
You'd have to, wouldn't you? Because you'd need a physical card for the VCFs and VCAs.
It's definitely a hardware upgrade, guys. Yeah. I can tell you that with hand on my heart, because I actually really, really want one of these, and I'm kind of like nerdy about the Waldorf M.
I really want. I like Waldorf stuff.
It's a really good form factor, this synth. Like, it's for me, Waldorf makes some really cool stuff. Like, you could probably tell I'm a bit of a
They're always built really well.
They are. Like, the Pulse was amazing. The Pulse 2 was amazing. All that stuff is
Pulse
cool.
Pulse there, Blofeld up there.
The Blofeld.
Really? Well, maybe not the encoders on the Blofeld.
They make some good stuff. I just can't afford some of this stuff.
My Sledge has got a Waldorf built. The synth in that is, I mean, the build quality on the Sledge is rubbish.
Yeah,
but that's not to do with the Waldorf.
Yeah,
the Waldorf synth. The synth itself is great. It's just how Studio Logic implemented it, really. You know,
indeed. But out of this polyphonic digital synths with analog filters, there's, I mean, go back in time, you've got the Ensoniq stuff, right? The SQ80 and the ESQ1. But there hasn't been like a massive amount that do that, the hybrid. And I really like it personally.
Are you listening, Behringer?
I really like it. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. The M-Voice expansion costs $699 in euros, 699.
So if you've got an M, as in not an M16,
you can upgrade it.
And what, do you have to send it to them?
Paint.
Do you send it to them, or do they send something to you?
You just order it and they send the board. You can probably get it built in by someone, but I don't know. It looks like something to be placed inside. When I look at it, it has two connectors, so it's probably just mounted on the motherboard or something like that.
Okay.
It's a
Lagu in the chat said. Lagu in the chat just said that it was an easy install.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, even the all digital stuff.
How many?
Did they send you the little sticker as well, so you could put the little 16?
Well, it's a can of spray paint and a stencil. Yeah.
Chris's style.
Even the all digital stuff needed a card upgrade.
Use a pen.
That's right. So when you think about like Korg Radius and the M3, if you wanted to upgrade that, they were all expansion cards. The Yamaha stuff was all expansion cards with the YM stuff. Yeah, it was kind of like early mid 2000s that we were doing this.
Sadly, this one doesn't have the upgrade to 30 voices. Like, there's two models of this one. This is the regular one, but there's one that has a card you can add for 30 voice, which is a bummer. But I'm okay without 30 voices. But
I just sent you a link, Ranzee.
Yeah, I just got it. Thanks, Henrik. Andy, isn't that one that you were just showing it, Andy? Isn't there a version of that's got a different coloured? Is it like a different colour around the LCD screen or something?
The keyboard is a brighter orange, the XTK. This is the XT.
Yeah.
The difference on this one, you can tell, is this kind of bubble plastic screen that's kind of bulging here.
Yeah.
That's the indicator this is the original.
Right.
The one that can be upgraded to 30 voices has a flat screen. It's not this kind of plastic bubble over the thing.
Yeah.
So you know immediately, like, oh man, I can't upgrade this, but it's still an awesome thing. So it's
okay. Cool.
And then I have my little micro Q in the back. You see the yellow, the micro Q back there. There's another digital Waldorf. So
yeah. Oh, they
do. They're all great. I love them.
They do great digital stuff too.
Yeah.
Let's just show this page because people I'll go away with cookies. People are wanting to know what it looks like as a thingo to buy. €6.99 in stock, pre-order, possible estimated shipping date end of calendar week 12. What are people talking riddles?
That?
Why can't you just tell us a date?
Yeah.
Right. It's obviously written
date
by
maths is hard.
It's a mathematician that's done this. Slap. Anyway, we ship the product only within the EU. If you're outside of the EU, you have to contact one of their distributors, or if you have a drop shipper.
Beginning of April, then.
Yeah. If you have a drop shipper, by the way, there are drop shipping companies in Germany and in some other places as well.
Can I just say something there? I'm going to give him a good thumbs up for this, because firmwares can only go so far.
Correct.
And up until now, very few, or if any, apart from going back to the olden days, you could ever actually expand your synthesizer hardware-wise, because everything's now throwaway. So this is quite less environmentally friendly in a way. So I'm quite... I think more
friendly.
Should do this, because...
Yeah.
Because it's like...
I agree.
You buy your synth, and then usually they bin it off because they can't go any further with the firmware, and you have to buy a completely new design that they've done. Whereas now you can go, okay, it's 600, it's quite a bit, but you can now update the synth that you've had. I like the idea of that. I think that's good.
I do too.
Should do that. Make it future-proofing it more than a firmware update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like I said, it reminds me when I upgraded my my M3 and I put the radius board in there, and all of a sudden now my M3 is also a radius. So it's cool stuff. This
and if the
really
design
cool.
they've got to start with is really good, then why change it? Why not just, obviously there's going to come a point where they're making a completely different unit, but that's a different matter altogether.
They could make it in smaller parts so people could buy it like rent to own.
like the heated seats on the BMWs. Have you heard about that? Apparently you have to pay a monthly subscription to get heated seats in the BMW. You have to pay a subscription for each voice. Now, let's go to the next one. Next. I said before, if you own a System 100M, there's a new module out, and I wasn't kidding around. And RYK Modular, brilliant people over in RYK Modular.
RYK.
We love RYK Modular. RYK Modular does some awesome stuff. Let's check out the video. It's only a minute. Listen to this. Oh.
That's awesome.
This is cool.
Wow.
Bit of subliminal. Shall I buy it? Yay. It doesn't make you want to go out and buy a System 100M, hey?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
good luck with that.
Faster, louder, stronger.
I know,
Let me jump in.
Before you do, can I just quickly just want to tell you the features, right? 3 dual Vactral control resonator channels, right? Each channel has its normalized audio. It sums up in a mixed output, and you saw all the settings for it. The slider controls for the attenuator for the inputs. There's 2 inputs per channel. There's a frequency knob. There's a resonance knob, and there's 2 attenuator mod things with the CV controls down the bottom. Brooksy, go.
Right, I chatted with the guy at Synth East last week or the week before, and no sign of that, no mention of that anywhere on his little stand at all. And yet there is lots of great RYK modules available.
Yeah.
As in for eurorack. So I suspect, because his original 185 sequencer was based on the 185 from the System 100.
Yep,
System 100M.
182, yep.
That doctored one. So he's done that, and I suspect there may well be a Eurorack version of this a little further down the line, which I really hope. If he makes that as a Eurorack module, because that sounded so cool. That just sounded, this is great. those of us that are into the Eurorack system know why that is a bloody cool module.
Oh yeah,
and I would buy it. I would have it. Yeah,
yeah. We need a resonator.
So
£595.
Please, chap whose name I've now forgotten. Please do release it as a Eurorack module as well.
Yeah, I reckon they might, because he does, like you said, Brooks. He does release a Eurorack module. £595 for that particular one, by the way. If you do have a System 100 M,
sounds great. Sounds great.
Wasn't that awesome?
Brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Yum.
Proper fab sounding.
By the way,
you could hear what it was doing.
They're the System 100
really hear
modules.
What
They're
was
like
going
this.
on there.
Oh yeah,
This big, right? Eurorack modules are this big. Yeah. I thought you guys would be interested in that. Now, the problem with that is that is a really, really small market. So, Brooksy, your logic, I think, is kind of sound, because if he does a Eurorack version, it will open up his sales, hopefully, as well. But do check him out, RYK Modular. Yeah, probably not like that well known, like some of the people were saying in chat, but he's been around for a while, so should be. Anyone want to comment on the resonator? There's the 175.
To make a Eurorack, it's going to be a lot of HP. Yeah.
It would have to be side by side.
You think it'll be wide? Yeah, I think it'll be quite wide.
I think it would be, yeah. You'd have to. But then again, the 1.8... How big's the 185?
It's not very big, but that had a lot more stuff on it than the 185.
Yeah, it's about this big. Talking about polished. No, right. We should keep going before the show goes downhill very quickly. What about this? The C Quencer. Do you like that? The Cosmos Quencer. This is an interesting thing. It is on what do you call it? Modular Grid, if you want to check it out. But from the website, the Cosmos Quencer is a phrase generation sequencer specifically designed for real-time performance. They've had a thing before that they've released, and they've upgraded this and completely redesigned it from the ground up, and they're pretty chuffed, and rightly so. I'm going to play a little video. Probably going to get a copyright claim for this though, because I didn't get any permission. But yay, it's me birthday show, so who gives a shit? Let's go.
It's got lights.
I knew you'd like it.
Calm down, Darren. Calm down.
But none of them before. There's a purple one.
Guys, this kind of reminds me a bit of the Noodler. Alright, before I absolutely get completely killed by YouTube, because that video does go for about 5 minutes. That is awesome, that module. I can see a lot of people like wanting to stand there on their Eurorack modules and live performances and tweak away with stuff like that. I think that's sort of cool. You're Noodler-ish, I think. Sequencer Noodler-ish in a sense. Like what do you guys think? Oh, price? You always want to know prices, don't you? $299 and it's from centervillage.net. If you are looking for where to get that from, Center Village is a modular.
How many channels does it have?
It doesn't tell me. I'm looking at the picture. No, it's one.
Yeah,
it's one gate.
So that's limited, isn't it? Even if you can do loads and loads of stuff with it. I mean, it sounded fantastic. I mean, what he was doing and why it was happening, I had no idea, but it sounded cool. But then again, at that price, he's up against things like the Cubic Bloom, which is 2-channel and allows similar sort of interactivity. So,
yeah, I'm just going to get the details on that.
It looks great, though. It looks great, sounds great. So,
yeah, because Noodler's 4 layers, so that's a lot more stuff.
Yep.
Even Modular Grid doesn't tell me, because I think these guys who make this are Japanese. I think.
Yep.
And so sometimes the
Japanese
translation
doesn't have a number 3 or a number 4.
Well, it doesn't have the translation sometimes. Either.
No. Wagyu, don't go there. I know.
Like listen to this. It's written here. There is no need to prepare sequence data in advance to perform music. Just like an improved jazz performance, simply choose the scale and play the sequence as you desire. It's like obviously someone's just Google translated it, right?
Yeah.
Future Retro had that circular sequencer as well for a while.
Tell me about it, Andy. What happened with Future Retro?
I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was a circular sequencer.
Proper, we
proper
showed
knobs on it, and black and blue and silver, I think.
Yeah. Maybe it was from that they were basing this. I'm not sure. Anyway,
possibly. Yeah.
I saw it on Modular Grid. By the way, if you ever want to know how to find new products, easy to do, easy little trick. Go to Modular Grid and click on Search Newest, and then bang, you literally will get something new just about every day popping in your inbox, basically. And if you see something you like, show it on the show. Hey, anyone else want to comment on this? I know, Chris, you like this sort of stuff, don't you? What do you think?
Oh yeah, yeah. But as Andrew said, yeah. But as Andrew said, one channel. It's kind of like
don't quote me. I think it's one channel. It's definitely.
It looks like it was. I did.
It does.
I did have a look at it. It does look like one channel. It looks like he was doing the polyphonic stuff. He was doing was actually just an interval that he was intervaling one oscillator with another oscillator. So that kind of suggests that he didn't want to draw attention to that. So yeah, no, I think it's one of those cases where these people want to really focus in on perfecting their phrase sequencer on a single channel.
Using beads too, by the way.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting, but once again, sort of always worry about how much HP things tape up, and that looks a bit big.
12 HP. Channel. 12 HP.
Yeah, still
26 millimeters deep. We did have that information, and it wasn't translated. Yeah.
The Japanese are always good at specifications. Yeah.
I think that's it for the news, isn't it, people? Yay, we got to the end. Hooray!
Love it.
Yeah, look, Future Retro had the Orb and the Revolution. They're two circular
Orb.
ones.
That's the one, the Orb.
Revolution was the bigger one.
The blue one was the Orb, wasn't it? It was blue. I remember.
Yeah, they're both similar colors, but the Orb is smaller, I think.
One was purple and one was blue, I think. Anyway.
Give us another blow, Ian.
Okay, then. Ready?
Whoa!
Hey! Chatties, we haven't forgotten about you. We love you.
Hey!
Big hello to all those people in chat. We're celebrating our 4th birthday if you can't remember what we're doing. Anyway, let's go to this. Haven't done this for a couple of weeks.
No, yeah. That'd be a good scam.
Wonder what it's going to show first. I don't know if I've got any scams, but Schwayman stuff's starting to get pretty nasty. $14,000. It probably wasn't that much.
Quid.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a couple of thousand originally to buy. It's just because this guy's not around anymore, and rest in peace. But it's just really, really hard to get hold of this stuff. People are holding on to it, so people are taking the liberties, I think we'd call it. It's a live reverb page, so you can actually buy it now. No thanks, because he's not shipping it to Australia. How dare him? But it's the eggshell version, which some would probably say looks like it's been left out in the sun. White. Yeah. Anyway, S1 Mark II. Anyone played with one of these before?
Oh, no chance.
They're pretty rare, aren't they?
Nope. No, I've never even seen one.
Well, you have now. Well, you haven't really, because it's just electrons that you're looking at.
Well, if you've got time to spare, I'm talking about timing. You never know. Behringer might make one.
Oh, Aaron, behave.
Hey, well, he can't whinge, can he? And I don't mean that in a rude way, but there's no way he can whinge about it.
I think Dom actually had some Schwayman stuff. He was talking about it before.
Yes,
Fair
he
enough.
did. And
So
he got
some
it
people
really
do
at
have
a
it.
good price.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. That's why I put this one in here. I put this one in here because I thought I haven't seen one of these for a while.
Ages.
£1,000. These did
Having a
suffer
coda
from the
issue,
sticky.
that's about it.
These did suffer from the sticky knob problem, Darren. And you can actually see that
there's a bunch of words in there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of words. Just trip over your tongue, Rant. Arturia's, the big Arturia knob's got, I can tell just even in this photo on the website that I reckon it's got the sticky knob problem. Let's have a quick look at the live. Yeah, it's definitely got the sticky knob problem. You can fix this, people, by the way, with isopropyl alcohol.
By rubbing it.
Yeah, you
pull the knobs off and put some others on.
Yep. Darren, that's right.
Could,
you can fix a sticky
You've
knob
got
by
to
rubbing
rub
it.
your knob in alcohol.
You do.
Oh, bloody
Yeah.
hell.
Don't
knob
rub it
gets
too
drunk.
much because the knob will grow too big to use properly. So,
About the sticky thing, doesn't it disappear after some years?
We'll beg to differ on that, Mr. Wigoo. Wigoo saying they don't get sticky at all. They definitely get sticky.
They do get
they
sticky.
track badly, just like the SU700.
Wigoo says his is not sticky at all. He's lucky. He's a lucky boy.
Yeah, he's very lucky. I had a P1 that had sticky knob syndrome, and isopropyl alcohol did clean it before I sold it.
Darren, he also has a lot of joy with his
You sold
stick
your
as
knob.
well.
Did you, Ian?
He's choked on my drink.
I did.
A lot of joy with his stick here.
I did, Andy.
People, we should be serious. This is actually a pretty cool synth.
The great thing about these is before the command station was out, and that's like a software modular under the hood. This has crazy modular potential under the hood. You could spend weeks and weeks and weeks doing stuff with this.
I think that Wigoo might be onto something here. I think there might be versions where they did the rubberized knobs, and there might be versions where they did plastic coated knobs. So there you go. Maybe there was kind of 2 iterations to this, but I've definitely touched one.
If it's only the knobs, that can be changed.
Yeah, exactly. So that means if there is a plasticky sort of version, just go and maybe you could order it from Arturia.
I was talking about the encoders. They have an encoder issue.
Yeah.
I have the old Zoom recorder. It's the 4. I think it's H4n. And it became sticky at a moment, and I had to clean it.
Did you rub it?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Behave, Franz. Behave.
Yeah. I can show you what I rubbed it with.
This is a family show. Thanks, Henrik.
Yeah. I'll fetch it.
Ranzee. Don't you dare.
Actually, it's interesting saying about
I'm
that.
not letting him show that.
A lot older than that. I've got a Zoom H1, and that hasn't got any sticky business on it. Plastic hasn't got sticky on that.
I'm glad you.
So one of the sad things about the Origin
sticky
is they were putting all the original Arturia synths inside this as individual modules to play with.
Yep.
And they killed the project before they ever finished.
Yep.
So there's some classic Arturia stuff that just never made it in there.
Yeah. It was a really good idea, but then they realized quickly that it ran out of processing power because they got more advanced with their their VSTs, and that needed more processing. It
just didn't sell well. I mean, they had the keyboard version that had that funny pop-up shell. You ever see that one? The last one they made was a keyboard version. That thing was wacky.
It was wacky.
Yeah.
So Henrik wants to show he's rubbing.
Have become synths, isn't it?
Henrik's rubbing
his knob cleaner.
Yeah, I used this, and it didn't work in the beginning, but when I got half the way, I gave up, and then a few months after, when I picked up the recorder, it was almost not sticky anymore. So it did work.
That is the other option, because what that does, Henrik, is it actually puts tiny little silicon beads all over it. Because that's what Armorall is. It's basically a silicon.
Microplastics.
Yeah, tiny little silicon or microplastics. Yeah, like Brooksy said. and that could be what's stopping it from getting sticky. I'm not sure. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but isopropyl alcohol actually, Did I tell you guys about the Ableton push that I sold, and I took the whole thing apart because the whole surface of the push, this is push 1, not push 2, was suffering from the sticky resin, rubberized paint probably issue, and so I sold this thing on Reverb, and I told everyone.
Can we just give up?
He's gone.
He's lost it.
Can we just give up on the knob stuff?
Poor Darren. And this guy bought it off me because he was looking at Ableton Push, and every single place that he was finding one, they all were like covered in sticky surfaces, right?
Yeah.
And the only person that bothered to actually fix it was me.
And it's not a big job to fix it, is it? Because it
took me half an hour.
I mean, what you basically do is you're taking the top surface off with isopropyl alcohol.
Yeah.
Because as you clean it, whatever cloth you're using, it becomes black. And so
Absolutely.
you're taking the. And I think I when I had the P1, which was obviously the MIDI interface thing, and I wanted to get rid of it because it wouldn't work with my M1 Mac. I mean, I think I did it over a couple of days. I cleaned it and then went back to it again. So you have to persevere with it to some extent, but it's worth doing,
Right, let's
Aaron
move
is still
on.
going for it. Yeah,
I had a major problem.
I said I didn't say the word
mini
knob.
brew.
It was sliders. Sorry,
The
go
mini
on,
brew
Rob.
had the
Go on,
case that
Andy.
had that problem, and I cleaned the hell out of it with isopropanol, and it's still sticky. So
Darren.
Really?
yeah, it's those coverings can be really bad.
Just don't cover the screen and listen because it's just not a good idea.
All right, hang on. I've got some more. What about this one? The Oberheim 2-Voice Pro, the 2022 version. Someone's selling for $20,000 US.
Really?
Yeah. And just to prove it, here is the
limited.
live. If you would want to know what the exchange rate is, there you go.
15,000 quid.
15,000 quid.
Yeah.
I got to play one once. They're nice. Yeah.
Not very good photos. If you're going to spend that sort of money, maybe you could attempt to make some better photos.
Yeah, it's quite a nice condition.
Well, it's
not old,
it's only a
but it's-
year
no.
old. Yeah.
Yeah,
It should be in nice
exactly.
condition.
He's not. Yeah.
Okay.
He hasn't dropped it.
He'll use the money for a camera.
I really thought this last one.
Camera.
I really thought this last one was really cool. Now, this isn't scam or anything. This is actually just something really cool. Last one here. The Seiko DS320.
Those things.
Do you guys remember these? She's 1983.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's 1983. Seriously? I remember these things. The little sort of top console thing on this was awesome. I used to think this thing was.
It was
I couldn't
a
afford
really
one when
good
I was young.
example of how not to do a synthesizer, drum machine, and effects unit, basically.
It's just really interesting. I used to love looking at this top thing. I used to think it was like
it's great. Yeah,
like some sort of mission control thing when I was a kid. When I saw this at the shops, I was like, "Oh, this is cool! It's got a little memory cassette, and it's got the mission control, it's got speakers." This 13-year-old, 12-year-old kid.
It's like a
Looks
weird
like something
Yamaha
to land your pole
PRS.
Yeah, this thing looks so cool.
Problem is, it's a piece of shit, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounded terrible.
Yeah, it didn't really sound.
It
Yeah,
did
it
not
didn't
sound good at all.
The case is great.
Look, oh dear.
That's had some love, isn't it? The case, eh?
That's brilliant.
Oh,
That's brilliant.
yeah.
Really
Oh, it's
lifting.
carpet. It's carpet
No.
case. Oh no, I hate those carpet cases.
No, that's
Imagine
wonderful.
all the beer and piss and shit that's in that case.
Take the smell of your local nightclub with you.
Well, it was only, what was it? Go back to the option. It was only
The carpet racks are fine, just not the
$995
carpet
US.
case.
That's probably a bit pricey, to be fair. $995 US is probably well over what that's worth.
Yeah.
But someone who likes that sort of stuff, collects it, might want to buy that. Anyone got one? It is adorable, Wugu. I agree. What does
I
it
was
sound like?
once, but it's such a thin sound. It's very thin.
Oh
so
yeah,
not...
it's worse than the Casio.
Yeah.
Worse than the Casio. It probably actually has the Casio engine in it. I wouldn't be surprised. I reckon they.
I mean, it has all kinds of harmonics and stuff. You looks like you can do a lot, but you're like, that's it. All of that work, and that's
yeah. It's 16 harmonic additives. It's an additive synth, by the way, if you didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
16 levels for creating waveform sounds. Blah 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 blah. I remember talking to some guy on Gearspace about this about 10 years ago, and he was like raving about how cool this is because it's additive and no one uses additive. And I'm like, there's a reason.
There is a reason.
Then you got a K5000, which is a
crap.
proper additive, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Did Heimbach?
Yeah, but that's because of what it goes through afterwards. No,
it sounds good. Just the engine is good. Yeah.
If Heimbach bought one, he's probably he'll make that thing sound
was
good.
additive.
He'll make that thing.
He will.
Good. He's got the Midas touch Heimbach.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Randy Carlos made a lot of great additive patches.
True. Yeah. Now that is it for Price Watch. What was your favourite? Do you want me to refresh your memory? We had. Let's go to the graphic thing quickly. Easier.
I'll give house room to the Strymon, thank you.
My favorite is a picture of that crap in the case. Just
Strymon. It was the Strymon. It was the Origin. It was the Oberheim, or it's the piss and shit Seiko.
I know it's wrong, but I still say the F key.
Yeah, instead of function key, is that what you mean?
No.
It's F'n key on the Mac. If you actually look, it says F'n. Did you press the F'n key? Have a look. It's written there. It's F'n. F'n.
Oh, it's
key.
pronounced It's like F'n on mine.
Where you are, it's Fick, right? Don't you say Fick?
Oh, dearie me. All right. Okay, so we're going to go back quickly to get my mouse back because it's over on the other computer. Come back. You guys probably see it just buzzing over the stream every now and then. Here we go. See if I can get it on the stream. There it is. It's on the stream.
Wow.
Nope. You wouldn't have seen it. It was very, very small. Okay, now.
We don't see it. Look at you.
Darren.
Are you talking knobs again?
Your thing about.
No, he's not talking knobs.
Not with mice now.
Okay. I asked the guys
Maybe
here.
flying it across the screen.
I asked the guys here what was their favourite thing about Synth Geekery over the last 4 years, and I had some answers back. But the first one I thought was a massive effort by Chris. He's actually created a video, so we don't even have to. Let's watch it. Here we go.
4 years ago, one man stood alone against the tyranny of synthesizer ignorance.
Okay, we're live, according to Google. Just wait for someone to turn up. So far, there's no one watching.
Then they came.
I guess I'm not right now, right? Stupid sold it as Rancee's because nobody went.
4 years of Ranzee's Synth Geekery show, starring Rance Adamson.
Nice to have you here.
Good looking wrist, that guy.
Beautiful Saturday, back in the studio.
Darren T. House.
It's been wet and cold. Hot, very hot.
Andrew Brooks.
Oh, just that. That's great. Wow. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Ian J. Cole.
But I bought that as my first synthesizer, and I love it. It's great.
Hey.
Andy Synthetic.
I love my little Odyssey. Harp Odyssey. This is the Tic Tac one.
Oh, there's a meme there, Andy.
It's everyone's motivation. Make an overweight fart.
Henrik JX3D.
Hi, what's news? I'm not doing an album.
Brave Dave.
What did you do to your head, mate?
Kent Swan.
Welcome to Facebook.
Robbie Puricelli.
And he also is a brilliant man.
This guy.
Yeah, hi everyone.
And Henrik the Dalek.
I'll try to reignite and steer instead of mono.
And many more.
Press the variation button then. Didn't
Oh, Eddie was there.
Congratulations, everyone, on 4 years of Synth Geekery. We think your show is ace.
We'll never watch the show before this. Just us in the show.
Thanks very much, Chris. That was so well done.
Excellent.
Let's go across to Chris so he can see his. There's his face. Thanks very much, matey.
Yes. I'm very sorry if the voiceover man mispronounced anyone's names. It just can't get good help these days.
No, I know. That's, 4 years of putting up with that crap. Hey, Chris.
That must have been a bit of searching through.
Yes, it did. I did a fair bit of research for that, but mostly it's mostly just the sick, weird stuff that comes out of my head.
No, I think you did well.
Hopefully people found it funny, so that's it.
Absolutely.
The reaction sounded good. So.
Hilarious.
Really good.
Yeah, that was very cute.
Probably my favourite part was the Dalek voice.
Yeah,
we have to dig that.
Well, that was.
Up.
I know that was actually what started the idea. That was what started the whole idea. Was the Dalek voice thing? And I think, oh God, I've got to make a video for this. So thank you, Henrik.
You're welcome.
We have technical problems.
You're welcome.
Okay, now I'm just getting this one lined up. This is the next one. This was Ian's favourite show. Was the Area 51 show, Ian?
Yeah.
Now, what was part of it that was favourite about it for you?
All of it, to be fair, because you were talking about Doctor Who and Forbidden Planet, and it was just fun. It was fantastic. The whole thing was great. That was definitely my favourite show.
Yeah, we thought
it was nice to see Inverted Popes on there.
It was, yeah. We thought we'd do. Yeah. Let me go across to it, and I can sort of talk about it as we sort of find out. Look at Darren. Look at that camera angle, Darren. Hey,
yeah.
Look at that.
Well, hey, look at that studio
light.
Wow.
What a good-looking rooster.
Light, yes.
Right.
That's
so we had Andrew on there, didn't we? We had Andrew there. I think it's going to still work. Andrew's there. Big hello to Andrew. He hasn't been around for a bit. Look, we still even did the funny. We did the funny sides. Did we do some Australian?
I liked your clock as well, Rance. Your little clock in with the different times on the bottom.
Oh yeah, I still got that. I don't know why I stopped doing that. That's the clock down the bottom right hand corner. That's not because people used to not believe me what time of the day it was that I was streaming.
Yeah.
We're talking about those weird things for the patch management stuff. So where are we? So we'll just go to see what Andrew's saying here.
Just there's so many good examples, I guess. But and obviously, you got Close Encounters and stuff like that as well, which was that was an ARP as well, wasn't it, for Close Encounters? Someone can correct me on that one. And then obviously, I think there's so many classic things, but I think the other thing I like out of sci-fi is where they've used synths and controllers and stuff like that as part of the props as well. So I think there's an early Star Trek movie where they use an Oberheim DX as one of the control panels for one of the consoles. So I like that side of things as well. There's some really interesting things if you go looking for some of that stuff.
So there you go. We did an episode on sci-fi synths. One of the things I tried to do was I tried to sort of make every stream have a topic. Sometimes I couldn't think of one because I was just too lazy to come up with one. But it was good fun coming up with topics. Sometimes people would send me a message and say, "Do one about this." Sometimes people would send me a message and say, "Do one about this," and I'll be like, "No," because it's just stupid ideas. But yeah. So that was a good suggestion there, Ian. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
There was only 497 people that watched that after all that effort. Now, Darren, your favourite according to you, was.
Well, can I just stop you? That wasn't my favourite. I was trying to find the bits that Chris has found out with Ray Davis, the funny ones, but I still liked it because basically it was just advertising his album. It was the only one I could find with him actually on, because I thought he'd come out. I'm sure I knew he'd been speaking on the channel, but I couldn't find which show it was on.
Chris will be able to tell us that.
Yep, I'll just get my notes. I'll just
the one,
keep on
the one where he had the head injury was a good one. That was really funny. There was a lot of anecdote jokes in that. That was really good. And I have to say that none of that was rehearsed. I was literally like put on the spot, and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do in my head? And I'm just going to talk to this.
You were also trying to solve technical problems, if I recall.
It was so hard. Anyway,
every time he comes on, he's not announced. Half the time, I don't know what he's going to do or say.
Exactly. If Chris could find that, we can probably bring that up.
Yeah.
So that would probably be
170 SG 170 Synth Geekery 170. The actual time code might be a bit tricky. I will be able to find that.
Oh no, I've got 170 here. We talked. Okay. Oh, that's right. We tried to. That's right. We were trying to do this. This was a train wreck. This episode, we were trying to put.
We had to restart the stream.
We had to put the. We were trying to put the DX7 through analog, yeah, it was a nightmare. All right, let me see if I can. Let me see if we can find out where he was. It would have been at the start, wouldn't it? Surely. Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, you can see it there.
Let's watch this.
Let's just change this.
No, first of all, the name is wrong.
Nah, Darren does. All right, let's try that again. There we go. Look at that. See, you've got your own name now. Now let's fix your. What did you do to your head, mate?
I fell off the bloody chair.
Oh, did you? That'll do it every time, eh? Now, I can't move you across because that's your end. You need to move your camera or something. But try not to do yourself another head injury, yeah? I mean, yeah. we can do miracles here, but not that many miracles. I reckon that'll do. We can see it.
I think the camera angle might be a bit tricky to do.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I think we can see you. You're not going to break your neck, will you? There you go. Look at that. You just have to remember to move yourself to the opposite side that you think to move yourself to. Stupid cameras. Yeah, he's not going to help. Don't worry about him. Right. Now, what do we need to do? We, Mr. Rave Dave, we've got a DX7 in front of us. You weren't even born when those things came out, matey. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that beautiful thing. Let's turn this light off here. There you go. Look at that. Isn't that a thing of beauty? It's even got the original Yamaha cartridge in it.
All right, there you go. So that was episode 170. That wasn't that long ago. That was only 20 something.
I'm crying here.
He's been on. He was on before that.
Well worth. Yeah.
He was definitely on before that.
He was on. He was on. That was release of his album or just after it. He was on quite early on, wasn't he?
And so Brooksy, you were saying to me that your favourite of all time was probably the Bastel moment.
Well, of course, but we can't seem to locate where it was.
Yeah.
Inky was definitely on. We were talking about some Bastel thing, the Bastel Castle or something like that had been released, and it was just Darren, and he just and I don't think he meant it in any kind of sort of double entendre way, but sitting on the park bench and playing with this thing between his legs, and I just, it was. And I just
I wish I'd found that.
I couldn't help it. Of course, once one person's lost the plot, everybody else, well, me and Darren did anyway, I don't remember it. And there's Lisa was sort of going,
I remember that.
oh, so unprofessional. Come on, get a grip. It just got worse and worse.
It just went downhill from there.
Darren, you didn't just say that, did it? You didn't. That was that. It just went off. So we've really got to try and locate that clip because the park bench thing that keeps getting mentioned.
Yeah,
it keeps getting mentioned now, and that's what. Unfortunately, it's because of that episode. Because with me and Darren,
because it was about having a small. The reason why it came. Obviously, I didn't mean
with that little thing between my legs.
We realised what it was. Yeah, it's because I had one of my out of body experiences, thinking, "Oh, if I have some small synths on a park bench, I could make up like it," and that's where it came from. And it all came out wrong. Once we start laughing, that's it. It all came out wrong, and that was it. It was just that's my thing now. It's
that's like bench. The best marketing ever for Bastel. They'd never used it. That would have just been awesome.
I hope so. Honestly, I met the guy from Bastel last week, and I just didn't dare tell him. I couldn't say it. I wanted to say,
they could start a whole mini synth range up the park bench range.
The company name just sounds funny, so it's automatically funny. So.
Yeah, depending on how you pronounce it, it can sound like bar stool, as in
bar stool.
Sitting on a bar stool.
I don't know where the name comes from.
That's why occasionally
isn't it French Bastel? It's a French name.
The German verb Basteln, B-A-S-T-E-L-N.
French Bastille Day, isn't it? They have the Bastille Day in France.
No, it's not. The German verb Basteln means to potter about. Just bricoler in French, Basteln in German, and it's just to potter about and do things and just sort things.
Fair enough.
Stuff,
you're thinking of Bastille Day.
And I think
Bastille, that's it. Yeah.
Bastille Day.
Yeah.
What are you doing, sir, on that park bench?
In German,
playing around like a.
In German, it means a craftsmanship or hobbyist. A bachelor is a hobbyist. Yeah.
Bastling to make things in your garden shed, sort of thing.
Yeah.
The other moment for me, I mean, in terms of the stick in my head, was when I had a bit of a rant about being in a folk club, and the guy having a go at me when I told him about doing folk music on synthesizers, and that was the analog versus digital episode. Can't remember what number that was. Ken Flux Pierce was on.
Oh, that was a great episode.
It was a good episode. That one we talked about all sorts of stuff in that one. But it was about this guy, and I said to him about using synthesizers to do folk tunes, particularly with the idea of doing stuff about the making of steel in Sheffield. And he had a right go at me. He just started having, sort of, no, analogs, synthesizers and folk music don't mix, and this, that, and the other, and electronics and folk music. And I went, and I went, you should, well, anyway, it was just one of those things. I went off on one.
Well, I've got it here. I wonder when you did it.
You see, people, we do have good shows.
Whether it's it's about halfway through, if I remember. Ken Flux have been talking about.
Could be here.
The PPG wave. Mega Marks just mentioned the PPG.
Earlier than that,
it was digital oscillators.
It's earlier. Ken. That probably about there then.
It was.
No, that's theremin.
Yeah. What do you like about it?
That was a virtuoso performance.
It could be here.
No, it's later. It's definitely later because we were talking about analog versus digital.
My left knee's giving me jip.
All right. Well, we can find it anyway later.
Sound grab right there.
My poor left knee.
On my left knee.
Yeah.
On my left knee.
We cover all sorts of things about synthesizers. Anyway, yeah. So what was that? That was episode 87. That was a long time ago, Brooksy.
Yeah, I used to put it up there. Now it's over there.
Yeah, Ranzee, I forgot to comment. I didn't read the whole email. It's just one of those weeks. I'd missed the whole. I replied to part of your thread, but not the whole thing. But as someone else pointed out in the chat, my favorite was the Brooksy Bop animated GIF thing.
Yeah.
That I made, for him.
That was
yeah,
good.
Yeah, thanks.
And
that was when he won the Name That Synth. That's when he did the pop. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I can't find. I have it on Imgur somewhere, but
yeah.
And then one of my favorite shows was just super geeking out with Andrew Me about custom MIDI controllers. That was a good one.
Yeah, he's helped out some great shows. Big shout out to him too. On that particular episode that you talked about, Brooksy, I actually think that was probably one of my favorite shows because we tackled the absolute forbidden topic to ever bring up, and that is to go into the war of analog versus digital. And Ken just
hybrid land,
without any, literally without any rehearsing or anything like that, he's just gone, and it's full of really, really good information. That stream, and so you can see. I'll just give you a little snippet here. Here's Ken talking about what he believes passionate.
It's that everybody was copying for a long time, so it's not. It's not some secret sauce. It's not, there's nothing unknown about that stuff. Everybody knows it. It's been out there for decades and decades. So, the fact that they're able to reproduce it, for extremely affordable prices, one might argue that it's unfortunate that Moog didn't have the foresight or goodwill to do this for their customers a long time ago. And they could have. They absolutely could have chosen to do that sort of thing. But it wasn't in the cards for them. They decided to go a different path. And, some of their eurorack stuff I think is cool. I think they would have made a killing if they came out with the same sort of thing for double that price point of what Behringer did, and did basically the same thing. They would have standed, to make good money, and in my opinion, it would have been a good choice for that company, but whatever. We don't get to decide those things.
He's always been a great guest to have on the show, and you don't even have to tell him what you're going to talk about. He will have so much information that he can just tap into from his experience. So big shout out to Ken, by the way. I know we haven't seen him around a fair bit lately because he's been working now with ASM with Hydrasynth and Glenn, Darcy, and the like. So, but I'll have to send a message and say that we mentioned.
Ken had a show going back 10 years. I mean, he was doing a long time ago.
Ken's been on YouTube for a long time, probably more like 12 years now. Because I remember talking about 10 years a few years back with him. So, yeah, he's one of the original synth guys on YouTube. If you're ever wondering, I think. Nick would be, Nick obviously from Sonic State's been around for a long time, and then Ken's been, almost as long as him, and there's a few others.
Well, Ken was doing video when Nick was still doing the podcast version of the Sonic Talk, which is just
the audio version. Yeah. So
I've just found it, Ranz, by the way.
Yeah,
it's on that analog digital at about 2 hours 28 minutes.
Oh, it's towards the end.
Well, towards the end. I thought it was nearer to the beginning. So sorry about that. I forget.
Here we go. All right. It's exactly what
there's one thing that we haven't mentioned yet.
Yep.
If it's all right, there's one thing that I think is worth mentioning, and it comes back to my past. Of using digital technology and analog technology side by side on a stage in front of 300 however many people in a club.
No, sorry, this is not it, Ranz. I've got the wrong place. Forget it.
Okay. I'll forget it.
I don't know what I was looking at then.
All right. It's on that.
Anyway,
it's 2 hours.
It's in there somewhere.
We've already done 2 hours and 30 minutes on this show, so just about every show has got 2 or 3 hours worth of content on it. Whether it's boring as batshit or some of it's good. It's awesome, really hard to we're talking about this. It's hard to find content if you specifically want to go to it. Even on that one, I actually have gone in and contented it up so you can go straight to sections. But I haven't been doing that for the last 197 shows. I've probably only done it for the last, I don't know, 100 or 150 shows. And sometimes I don't put every single product that we talk about in the news section in, so it can be a bit hard to go back and search through stuff. Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's a bit like the newspaper, right? You read it once and it's gone. You enjoy it and then move on. Or you don't enjoy it.
Just laughing at Wagyu. My knee's giving me jip.
Yes. Blast from the past.
Hey, a synthesizer on a synth. Oh, who'd have thought it?
Yeah, we were supposed to be doing something about more about envelopes, but I don't think we're going to get around to it. Envelopes.
No, I thought it was a birthday show, so there'll be. It's just
what's the one?
A Serenity tag, isn't it, on the birthday show?
Birthday.
That's an oscillator.
Need to mark that moment on the stream.
Now let's bring the other dudes in here. How am I going to do that?
With the dudes button.
I need the dudes button. Yeah,
we need a dudes button. Yeah.
I might have to get rid of the chatties for a sec. Sorry, chatties. But you guys aren't here to whinge, so. What's the freaking channel number? 56. Okay. That just gives you a little snippet into why sometimes things take so long in this show. No, I don't want that. I want 56 there. 56. There's more than 56. There's something like 96 channels on this software that I need to get into. Okay, let's try and edit that a bit. Pan it. I think the panning was good, wasn't it? We need to crop it that way. Not that way. There we go. And let's chop a little bit of Henrik's off. Bring that in. There we go. Chris is in.
Henrik, you're going to have a bit chopped off. Hope you don't mind.
Chop a bit of Henrik off.
Doesn't matter how much cleaning you do.
Yeah. Doesn't how much armor all he puts on himself.
You have no idea how pertinent that is.
All right, so we got the StreamYard guys in there. That's good. Okay. All right, now Chris has had his little bit. Henrik, you've been on the show quite a lot.
What have you been doing?
Quite a lot.
Sorry, somebody stop me. Well.
What's your favourite? You don't have to have a favourite.
Dave on you.
On the spot.
Yeah, but I don't have a single favourite. I like them all. It's always entertaining. It's actually the only show that I can that I can watch every week and still feel interested in. So I like them all. That's how I feel.
That's lovely of you to say.
Yeah, nicely said.
Yes, but I think it's both the people in the show and the people in the chat.
Yeah.
But of course, it's the same people on the other on the other shows. But there's something about the tone in this show. It's not too serious, but still it's serious. It's nerdy and it's funny and yeah. I like it. I like this show.
Good. I'm glad we ticked the box for you.
Oh.
Fantastic.
It has its lighter moments. It has your nerdy synth stuff and then your light moments.
That's your fault, Darren.
Yeah, it is.
Darren,
you and your park bench and your...
It's how people take it.
Appendages.
I mean,
is now the time. Is now the time that I have to admit that when I first started watching, I couldn't watch it live because I was working on Saturdays.
Oh, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and I used to watch it in the bath.
Ooh. Hope you didn't drop anything.
I could
really
excited by it.
People watching my show in the bath.
Yeah. Not every time, but more often than not, I think, all right, the Sunday night bath, the weekly bath. Not really.
And a warm cup of Milo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goose.
And I'd watch.
Hey, Ranzee, check out the link I posted. It's a synchronized dance with you and Brooksy.
Okay, cool. We'll do check it out.
What?
Wagoo said that I still don't know the name of the city that's in one of my stingers. He's correct. I don't.
No.
I think it's the. Is it the? What stinger is it that had the city in it?
Austin.
I think it might have been the old.
Was it
the
News?
the old News one, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah.
The new News one doesn't have a city in it anymore, does it? I can't remember. Is it the new one? Yeah, the new.
No, you've stayed away from that, so you don't need to worry about where
you're confuse people.
Where you're showing.
Yeah. Let me have.
Don't think we're going back in time now. Oh, we're on your news. What time did it start?
Oh, okay. I'll show this. This is funny. Okay, so we bring this over here. Paste this
almost
in here.
synchronized.
Almost synchronized. Here we go. We should just leave that running in the corner or something. We'll show. So what I was going to say was, so at first I had no idea what I was going to be doing with the show, and I didn't bring Funny Side in until I think it was like maybe the 4th or 5th episode, because I kind of felt like probably what you guys have said, like that's how I felt when I was watching, and this is not a blight on any show at all, by the way, but when I was watching a lot of the other shows, I felt like there was some humor missing, and I definitely knew that us synth people have a good sense of humor because I see it all over the internet, over social media and over forums and things like that, and even just talking to each other, and we've all got a sense of humor. And I thought that Funny Side segment, as lame as it is, showing those really, really stupid memes, was just something that I just wanted to just break up that seriousness with the show, and I always do it at the start because I kind of feel like, we just need to have a little laugh before we, get stuck in talking about serious products and stuff like that. So I can't remember if it was always in that order, if Funny Side was always first, but I'm pretty sure it's been that way for pretty much the whole time. Wagoo's been one of the longest watchers. Poor Wagoo. He was saying the early episodes are just me talking about mucking around with something. It usually was like I might have had a topic on one specific synth or something like that. So not sure, but
yeah, I remember them because that was when, even in the very early days when we couldn't get everything going, you were saying, I'm going to look at this, I don't know, synthesizer and everything, and the whole stream was just crashing. So it was just like we never actually sort of did anything with it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how much, like, a lot of people sort of don't realize, but when you're streaming a live show, like if it's just you sitting in front of a camera and you're not really doing anything else other than just a talking head, it's easy stuff. But when you're showing synths and you're having to play them and you're having to change camera angles and you've got guests on your show, at first it's really, really hard to do. I mean, obviously now I've been doing it for a few years. It's easier. It gets easier, and I've got stuff here that helps me. But it's kind of weird, but in a stupid, punishing way. I actually enjoy it. I actually enjoyed having the stress on me. And I probably make it look really, really Mickey Mouse because half the time I don't know whether I've got a video lined up or whether I've got a button that I've pressed correctly or what. But to be honest with you guys,
that's the good part about it.
I don't really care. I don't want it to look like, you're watching, your nightly news on your local TV station and it has to be perfect and no one can speak out of place. I don't want that. I think that's, I don't think any of us want that, right?
No.
Oh, Andy, what have you found, Brooksy?
Completely free.
Yeah, I just said on that episode with me Rant, I've found it's 1 hour 36, there and thereabouts.
Was this when we had?
Do you like the sound of it?
Rant,
I mean, that's Ken and his SQ80. He loves the sound. Those synths sound amazing. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, some synths you'll sit down and you'll play and you'll go, I don't like the sound of that very much. Sorry, DX7s don't like the sound of a DX7. Never have done. Is that because it's digital or because of the way it's just not for me? It just is. One day I might learn to love it. I know. I think you really can tie yourself in all sorts of knots, and it's interesting because I think we can go by extension into the world of acoustic, because I had a really quite heated argument a couple of years ago now in a folk club here in Sheffield, and because I quite like listening to folk music, and and there was just this guy was performing. He'd got his semi-acoustic guitar, he plugged it in, it was going into the PA system, and he got nice reverb on his voice and all sorts, and was listening. Then we sat down, we got chatting, and when I told him I was into synthesizers and electronic music, and I was actually quite interested in the idea of taking folk melodies and themes and exploring them in electronic music, he had a right go at me. He absolutely lambasted me. You know, electronic music has no place in folk. No way. Folk music and electronic music do not mix at all. I said, you've just been singing through a microphone, mate. You know, you've just plugged a cable into your guitar, mate. Sorry, what comes out of your cable? What is going down your cable? It's just electrons. What's coming out the back of a synthesizer? It's electrons. It's electrons moving in a cable. There's no difference. You've had reverb and delay all over your voice. What are you talking about, man? You're talking rubbish. Do you own a CD collection? Right then. I said, have you ever listened to music played back from vinyl coming out through speakers? That's electronic. I said, you're just talking bobbits, mate.
Yes, you are.
You're just an idiot. Honestly, this went on and on and on and on and on. Then he came back at me and called me an ignorant peasant, and I obviously couldn't play any instruments because I needed synthesizers to play them for me. Oh, honestly, it was like handbags at dawn. I had to be ushered out of the place because I got in such a bad mood. You know? So, but it's silly. The idea of purism in anything is actually really bad. It leads to bad outcomes. You know, we can see it all over the world at the moment where people are purist about things, and well, we know. So no, purism's not good. In any way, shape, or form. So
I've never really met an analog purist though. I mean, I've heard.
Oh,
that
I have.
Possibly.
They are there.
I'm going to have to let you guys watch that show. If you haven't watched that episode on analog versus digital, there's some really, really interesting discussions on that. Real synth geekery stuff, right? We really went into lots of kind of analog versus digital sort of realms, and I think one of the best conversations in that show was when Ken was talking about how people come up with these terms, you know, to describe analog, and it's just a feeling, and then he asks them can you show me the evidence of this particular feeling? Like it might be this synth is warmer than that synth. That might be like one of the comments that people say. This synth is warmer. Okay, so show me the evidence of how that. I want to know what warmer is, and you sort of scientifically people can't break it down. It's just an opinion that people have, and they use language to describe their opinion, but it really doesn't have any sort of technical or scientific background to describing exactly what they're trying to say. And it's probably, in a lot of regards, it's probably more a romantic thing that they get into. And it was a really interesting conversation. So, because I've heard DX7 sound very warm, if you want to use that term.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't have anything to do with digital and analog at all. So it was a good show.
It's like food critics. The food critics have all that terminology for, you know, describing meals and stuff. So.
Yeah. So someone asked what episode was it? It was live stream 87.
Do you like it or don't you?
Yeah. All synths are warm when left on.
I'll actually
24/7, says Manny.
I'll copy it. I wonder if it will paste in here if I paste it. Yeah, that might be it there.
I have a very warm doorbell. Oh, no, you're right.
I thought you gave the OP6 back, Sorry,
well, guys. I'm going to probably have to wrap up the show. It was good fun talking about all the crap that we've been talking about for the last 4 years. It was good fun. Enjoyed it. Lots of stuff to talk about. Now, just a quick announcement. Next week, there is no show. There's nothing I can do about it. I've tried working out whether I can do it a bit later or another day. It's I've got this incredibly, insanely busy. It's nearly 2 weeks coming up for myself. So, unfortunately, we're just going to have to skip a week. But hey, maybe that week you guys could do what Henrik does, his little sort of backup show or something. I don't know. You guys can do whatever you like. It's completely okay with me. I like it when you guys do that. Other than that, we will be back the following week. I think we're getting close to episode 200. I don't know. Some people are stuck with numbers.
198 then, won't it? So
yeah. So I'm not sure if we'll do anything special
when
for
you
200.
do come back, Rans. When you do come back, the clocks will have changed.
Yeah, I know.
True. All right. Well said.
So watch out in social media as to when we start the show. It might go back to the 2 o'clock time again.
Work it out with the slide rule.
Yeah. In the UK it'll be 2 o'clock.
It might be, but I haven't worked that out yet. Anyway, so what we do for the 200 show, I don't know. Maybe we'll just do a little bit of mucking around. It's just a number as far as I'm concerned. It's not really anything that special. But yeah, 200 shows. Some people think is a fairly decent amount of streams to do. We're just doing it once a week. So if you think back, it's 200. That would be like 200 weeks. That's kind of the way you'd look at it. Not the fact that I could do way more than 200 shows in 4 years. That's for sure, if I wanted to. But it's because we do it.
It's a
once
good one
week.
to do.
Yeah.
And there might be some synth related stuff with 200 as well, right? So, especially when we start getting into the 200s, like 202.
Yeah, Wagoo's already landed on it.
There you go. Maybe the AN200 special. I haven't sold the AN200, and it hasn't. So I told you guys about the spreadsheet that I've got of all the stuff that I want to sell. That AN200 is not on that spreadsheet, so I'm not going to part with that yet. I like it too much. Same reason why you like the AN1X,
it is
Darren.
cool.
It's got a cool
I don't know.
thing
It's one of those where you keep looking at it and go, no, I like something about it.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of that. Yeah. Mind you, when I bought the AN200, I actually shipped it from the US. So, things like that, you just took an effort to get here. It's going to take an effort to get rid of it. Put it that way.
Well, DX200 is cool too because it has a real filter on it. So
a real analog filter
FM
or
with a real
digital filter?
At least a filter. There's no filter on a DX7.
No, I was just mucking around. Just mucking around. Yeah. Awesome. Big thank you to the chatties, which I haven't really had a chance to talk too much in the show, so I do apologise. But all of you guys in there, like Inverted Post has been around for a long time in the show. Wagoo as well. I think he said earlier in the chat that he started watching me on the second episode, so he may be the longest watching member in the show. So I do appreciate your support there, Wagoo. It's lovely to have you. We need to get his face on the show one day, or even if he doesn't want to show his face, get his voice on the show. So he's Anyway, see if we can
on the
get
Spong
Wagoo
Arm
on.
show a couple times.
He's definitely been on the Kent Spong streams. So.
Henrik.
Yeah, there you go.
On Henrik's show.
We'll have to
Come
get
on,
Daniel
Wags.
on.
Come and pay us a visit.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see what he says. I
He
know
likes
he's
to
gonna
be a
say
mystery
something.
on here.
All right.
I may
so
do a show next week.
As we've said before, Wagoo is Google.
He is. All right, guys.
Synth Google.
I do have to end it because I've got family telling me to pack it up.
Right.
So much
Cheers,
appreciate
chatties.
everyone.
See you all soon.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
See you in a couple of weeks.
All take care. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
See you all. Thanks for watching.
Bye.